Here we go, back up to a restart. Quickly, let's go over the overtime rules. We're about to go back green, but we get 2 laps, a green lap, a white lap, and then checkered. If the green lap is completed, the race is official. If the green lap is not completed, we re-rack and restart, and we do it all over again. After all 3 attempts are used, a caution can end the race. Here we go, green flag back in the air. We are racing again here at California. Already contact there with Joe Lawrence. He's trying to hang on. He pedals the car, but it holds up. No rainwater. Out front is Vicente Salas, and it is Lane Riggs.
A heck of a save by Joe Lawrence as they are single file. Riggs and Salas duking it out, trying to do what they can to fight each other for this win. Riggs is trying to find a way around on the top side, but as they come around, it's going to be white flag in the air, presented by Whiplash Sim Cams. We are going to make this race official, and we're going to finish it on my favorite number. White flag is in the air. Riggs underneath Salas for the lead.
For the lead and the win here at Auto Club Speedway, Lane Riggs finally gets down to the inside of Vicente Salas through turns 1 and 2. Can he hold on to it? Side by side still down the back straightaway.
Riggs is going to do everything he can, but he's by himself. He's not going to have the drafting help as Slow is up top, trying to decide who he's going to push. The nose in front goes to Riggs. Slow goes to the bottom.
Big send for Slow. He's going to move up the racetrack now. Brandon Slow driving Lane Riggs to the wall. It's going to be a straight-up drag race down to the stripe. Who's going to get there first? It's going to be, I don't know. Vicente Salas, I think, has done it again.
What a finish!
Wow!
What a run to the end by these drivers. Officially, Salas gets it, and Slow and Riggs tie 17 1/100ths of a second, 17 1,000ths of a second behind Salas.
It's the final chance, the final opportunity for the BRB Sundance Pizza. Sundance Pizza, there we go. That's a lot of words to cram together. The BRB Sundance Pizza Chase Hopefuls, there we go, to add the final toppings to their Season 5 campaign. I hope they've got things figured out on the track better than I do with my own words, but it is time to make it or break it. Can Carl Pooler, for example, can he hang on to that 12th position in the point standings, or does Evan Batinko score enough points? Can rookie Jordan White squeak his way in? It is about time to find out this evening at the one and the only Echo Park Speedway. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Hampton, Georgia. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with Arthur Super Marston joining us for the pre-race show, and Zach Murtis joining us in just a little bit for tonight's race coverage. And it's a pleasure to join you for tonight's coverage of the BRB Sundance Pro Series. Tonight's coverage from Atlanta is brought to you by Sundance Pizza, by the BRB Racing League, and by all series partners. I'm excited to be here with you this evening, Super, as we'll call you throughout the course of the evening. Echo Park is, of course, Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's been renamed. It does have new naming rights for 2026 and beyond, but it's the same old Atlanta that we've known, I say same old, since 2022 when it got reconfigured into this kind of super speedway configuration. It's crazy. It really is, especially in these cars. They can bump, they can bang. There's a lot of side draft in these ARCA cars. It's going to be a handful for them tonight. Without further ado, we will move into, of course, well, points. I want to get right into driver interviews, but we have to set the stage with points first. And this is a look at the points coming into tonight after 12 races of 18. Scott Fritz atop the board, just ahead of Brennan Maddox and Stephen Borbell. Josh Parent now has a win. I would say the bottom four of these guys are all in varying levels of danger, at least on the left side of the screen. So Zach Hall, Coulter Clark, Richard Walsifer, Carl Pooler are all in varying levels of danger. I'd say Zach Hall, if he gets away with any number of stage points in stage one, he's probably okay. We only have 22 cars so far signed in for this race, so it's a little bit lighter of a field. I honestly believe Zach Hall, if he can survive stage one, get a couple of points, he is A-okay and good to go for the night. And that means it's going to be even harder for guys like Evan Batinko and Jordan White to move over that cut line. I think certainly from Dakota Bly on down, very likely out of this chase picture. But, yeah, no, I think they actually mathematically will be, based on our car count here this evening. And we have three drivers that are all in different situations around the cut line. I already alluded to each of them, those being Carl Pooler, Evan Batinko, and Jordan White that we'll be talking to tonight. Without further ado, we can go ahead and speak with the first of those drivers, and we're going to start with the driver that is above the cut line coming into this evening. That, of course, being Carl Pooler. He is out on the racetrack, was practicing with some of his Maverick Motorsports teammates. Well, actually, he's in the pit lane currently, but let's bring in driver number 71 tonight. And Carl, boy, this is an interesting position for you to be in, of course. You've been trying to just have a breakthrough season. This might be it, but it all comes down to this evening here at Echo Park. What have you done in the last week or even weeks leading up to this race to make sure you are secured and in and can earn points to stay in for this chase?
You know, I think I've done what I can do. I'm in this position because stage points has been a kind of downfall on my end. I just don't qualify well, and I typically don't get those stage points. Those stage points are hard to come by. Being a super speedway, it's a little different. I have a feeling we're gonna have a intensity cranked up to 11 coming up to stage. I think it's at lap 50 tonight. So, but for me, for the most part, I've tried to downplay it. I've tried not to think about it because I know if I put a lot of pressure on myself, I tend to make up those overly aggressive mistakes that don't work out well for myself. So I'm trying to downplay. I'm trying to just focus on the race, go with the flow, and take what the race will give you, take what the track will give you. Don't get caught up in anything. It could be a battle of attrition tonight, so I hope to be there at the end. You can't win it in lap 1, you can't win it at lap 50, so I'm focused on the end, and really a win or at least a top 3 for me would really solve a lot of point problems. So I think that's the overall goal, but survival is the only way to get there.
So we might have lost Super. I'll jump in here really quick. I know he specifically wanted to ask you about the last lap of last week's race at Darlington. I know that's gonna make your toes curl. It's probably gonna make your skin crawl. I don't know. It's not a pleasant thought, right? But that last lap, Darlington, you almost had a win. You almost had a whole lot of things go right, and then it all went very wrong. What happened?
Again, I got over aggressive. I put a lot of pressure on myself. Darlington is a track where I statistically am not good at. Darlington is probably one of my worst ovals on the surface, period. And being in that situation, seeing the white flag wave and being able to, maybe even take a shot at it, I, just miscalculated, overshot, hit the wall. I didn't want to hit the wall, and I know I was definitely frustrated at Coulter behind me. He was a lap down, and I guess in the situation, I could have hit the wall, and if a lap down car wasn't there, I probably could have recovered and not finished 7th, and that's another thing where I try not to think about it too much, because if I do, I start thinking, hey, if I got that second instead of 7th, that's 5 points. That's a 5-point difference here. The stage wouldn't be so important. So, again, so many micro decisions, micro events in the season can culminate to this, and really, I'm really kind of happy I'm in the chase looking, trying to defend rather than trying to get my way in. The last couple seasons, it hasn't been so kind to me, so I'm trying to look at the silver lining, and like I said, just take what the race gives me and hope I end up on top.
All right, yeah, I got a question. So you're obviously, you're 10 points ahead of the cut line. I just really want to get into your head. What are you thinking about, before the race in terms of, your opponents? Just what are you thinking about going into it? What's your game plan for today?
Really, I want to get to the last, I don't know, let's say the last pit stop. Put myself in a position where I can make moves. Get to know who I'm running against. I definitely have to be extra, alert of Evan, Jourdain, Coulter's around there. I know Richard is further on than me, but only just a handful of points up. So being able to know who you're racing against and what you're racing for, I think that's a huge thing. But again, you got to get to the end. It's a long race. We have 165 laps. It is a long, long race. They go by quick, but it's a long race to try and battle your way through at this really tight super speedway-esque track. So it's all about situational racing for me and understanding who I'm against and where I'm at. If I'm, in the back and don't see a lot of movement, then there's no point in trying to push the issue. But maybe if I am looking just outside the top 10 and we're coming up on stage, maybe I will make a move for a point or two. So I think racing with my teammates definitely help here, and racing smart is going to get me where I want to be, and that's how I want to race. I can't tell you how that's going to end up for me, but I know that's how I want to race.
Well, Carl, it's always good to talk to you here at Pit Stop TV. We appreciate your time. Best of luck out there tonight.
Thanks, guys. You too, and I hope we at least make it entertaining for you guys up there.
And selfishly, Carl, I'll leave you with the parting thought that I want my guy to beat you. But best of luck regardless, Carl. We're all rooting for you, even if we're rooting slightly more for Evan tonight. But, Carl, again, good luck.
Thank you, guys. You guys have fun.
Carl Pooler. I love talking to that guy. He's always fun to talk to. We are rooting slightly more, maybe, for Evan Patinko, selfishly. And we're talking to him next. He's, of course, Whiplash Racing driver. We've talked about him all through season number 5, I feel like, and certainly we even talked to him last week before Darlington a week ago, and we're actually checking in with him here in the exact same slot in the pre-race show, back-to-back weeks. We haven't done that yet, and Evan, here we are. Final chance, final opportunity. We were just talking to Carl. We love Carl in these parts, but we're looking to see what you can do in the 81 car. Admittedly, a little bit selfishly, we're pulling for you a little bit more, but that is a tall task. 10 points. He's got a lot of great teammates. He's come a long ways with that team. How are you going to beat the 71 all through the evening?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to have to start with qualifying. I got to get some track position, qualify good. After that, we're going to have to stay up front and hope we are there to, capitalize on stage points.
Fair enough. I think Super. That was pretty clear, concise, to the point.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll tell you what, that's a great answer. I just want to know, last race, right? Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I do believe it was your teammate that ended up winning at Darlington. I just I want to know how you feel knowing that, like, right, you got some great teammates that are super fast, and they're probably going to try and help you get get into the chase. I just want to know how you feel about like having teammates that are willing to help you and are fast.
Yeah, Josh and Anthony have been great. Anthony's a little bit newer to the team, but he's fit in well with us. Josh is bad fast, and he's a real big asset on basically any race, but especially super speedways. He does really well. So they're going to help me tonight, but we all have to run our own race too. They're not just going to push me to the win per se, but I'm glad to have them in my corner. Hopefully, I've made enough friends with some of the guys in the field that they can also help me out or cut me some slack if need be.
And this is going to be a little bit of a longer race. These plate races typically tend to wear on you guys a little bit. 165 laps here, 250 miles. I mean, I feel like you could get it done in 20 laps and call it a day, but this is going to be a bit of a long race for you, as far as hanging in the seat. I know it's certainly different to being in a real car, but what is that like in the sim racing aspect for you, Evan, trying to make sure you are mentally there by the time you're 165 times around this place?
Well, they click off quick. You'd be surprised by how fast it seems to go. Big thing is for me, I like stage 1, our stage break there. Hopefully, I'm still in the race by then, but I like to clear the mechanism, reset, get ready to go for the next 2/3 of the race. Go from there.
And Evan, I have a bonus question for you this evening. All right, in 12 starts on super speedways in the BRB Racing League, only 21 laps led. Is the plan to aggressively change that number? Or are you going to try to be at the very front all night long, or are you going to try to strike when you need to?
Well, there's a bonus point for leading a lap, a bonus point for leading the most, and I need bonus points. So that's the plan.
There you go, Evan Patinko trying to swing for the fences this evening. Best of luck, Evan. Good to talk to you as always. We are going to track down our next driver on the list, and that is actually going to be somebody with a brand new paint scheme as well, just like Evan's got here this evening. And Super, I think you're pretty well acquainted with this particular driver, the driver of the number 83. And Jourdain, we've talked about it a couple of times already this evening. You are not quite the closest to the cut line looking in. You're the second closest, right behind the driver we just spoke with, Evan Patinko. 18 points, that's the gap to make up. What is your plan to go out there and make up that gap and get into the chase here in your rookie BRB season?
I mean, honestly, the best thing you can do is not think about it with how kind of far out I am right now, and just have fun. And yeah, in the ending stages of the race, I'll have it that we could make the chase. I need this spot, that spot, but I won't have tunnel vision, as one of my teammates gave me great advice. Don't tunnel vision it. Just chill out, run your race, worry about driving the car. Don't necessarily worry about beating your fellow competitors. And that's something I do plan on taking account into, and hopefully it comes out in my favor. You never know. So yeah.
So I also according to an anonymous source, I found out that you ended up getting second place at Daytona, and you ended up getting the pole here at the practice race. I just want to know, like, how that makes you feel, right? Knowing that you're going into a super speedway, cuts at the super speedway. This is probably the most important race of the season. How do you feel knowing that you're going into a category of tracks that you're pretty good at?
And honestly, going to a racetrack like this, it's pretty scary. The wrecks can be really bad, and hopefully we don't get caught up in them. Hopefully some guys don't push the pusher. We've been told that a lot of times, especially in this open car, and not to push in the turns. And we can only just hope for the best, as I've said, and just run our own race and get a great finish. But I feel like I'm not that bad at super speedway. As I said, P2 at Daytona, I kind of just hold my own, try not to do a bunch of pushing. In a way, the Ryan Blaney strat of sitting back and let everything play out.
Definitely your limited number of super speedway stats looks very good, but that's a very small sample size. You know, you have a lot of great guys around you, but they're, you know, of course, there's the alliance with Spirit and with Maverick. Of course, you're now at Spirit Racing, which is aligned with Maverick Motorsports. You guys will all be working together, I'm sure. They also want to get their guy in Carl in, and he's ahead of you. You're trying to beat him. What's that like in that dynamic, working with those guys when there's kind of multiple goals right now for the two of you guys?
I mean, it's really hard, but I told Carl we're in this together, and hopefully, best case scenario, we can find a way that both of us can get in. And if I can't get in, I hope Carl does. And I know Carl's a great race car driver, and I know he will make some great inroads in the chase. And I will be very much happy for him, as if I made the chase, you'd be very much happy for me.
That's a really good answer. They've done some PR training with you, I see. Jordan, good to talk to you. Best of luck out here tonight, and hey, maybe we're talking to you as a chase driver next week. We'll see.
I hope you talk to me after this race as well, if I can get a race win. But yeah.
There you go. The Jamaican sensation, the Jordan train, Jordan White. Love talking to him. I don't know, Super. I'm sure you like talking to him as well. As you guys are friends. He's the reason you're here. We'll put it that way. But practice wrapping up here this evening with Tim Henderson on top of the board. Sam Dyer second, Rusty Rafferty, Richard Wolsifer, and Anthony Teseo the top five. Of course, you can just about throw those times out. They don't mean a whole lot, if I'm being honest. Really, it's going to come down to chemistry, working with your teammates, and who can manage the runs the best here this evening at Echo Park Speedway. This is our first time as well broadcasting this place as Echo Park Speedway and not just as Atlanta Motor Speedway. So this is a little different for us. It's a slightly different cadence here in the booth. But as we wrap up this MXTraps.com pre-race show, Super, we have two more things really to go through. Okay, power rankings and best of show. We'll do power rankings first. We'll be quick, that way we can give you a chance, because you're not in the sim. You had your computer completely die on you, it seems like, in pre-race, so hopefully we can get that sorted out for you soon. But for power rankings, here they are. Things have changed a little bit. We dumped some old results out, and so these numbers have come down slightly. I want to give everybody that quick kind of caveat here. These numbers have come down slightly because we dumped old results out from last season that you know, didn't have a bearing as we approach the chase here of season number 5. But this is how things sort out. Stephen Borbell still on top, but just barely over Adam Buzzio. Some other notables are Zach Hall up to 3rd, just behind those two. Kyle Klenk is into the 4th spot. Josh Parent moved up a little bit. And then look at Coulter Clark now in the top 10 in the power rankings. I think that is significant and worth talking about. Is there anybody else that stands out to you here, Super?
I mean, no, you pretty much ended up going over everyone that I was going to talk about. You just went over everyone I was going to talk about.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think those are the guys worth watching. And you know, Scott Fritz, I think it's interesting how he's kind of dropped off. Just hit a bad luck patch. I think he can get right back to it as we hit some other speedways. And, you know, keep this in mind as we look at this next graphic, the schedule coming up. Michigan, that easily is a track where Scott Fritz and Johnny Wood Jr. and some of those guys, the speedway guys, can come back into form, but they'll be alongside guys like Stephen Borbell and Adam Buzzio and even Josh Parent, who have been much more on it lately. Then they have the road course, the super speedway again at Talladega, and then it's back to a couple of speedways at Phoenix and Miami. It's going to be interesting to see how everybody copes with the chase, but qualifying getting going, it gives us a chance to take a look at some paint schemes on the racetrack and nominate a few for today's Best in Show vote. And well, we're just going to go down the order and look at as many as we can. Here's Johnny Wood Jr. in the 75, currently on pole. How about Anthony Teseo in a brand new Pit Stop TV 15? Dustin Stallings out there in his Scooty Lou 00. Sam Dyer, same paint scheme there, no changes. We do have a new one for Adam Buzzio, and I'll be honest, I don't get the ref. I mean, I know it's Dragon Ball Z, but Zach Murtis is going to hate me. I don't get the hype.
Yeah, I don't really either. It's a great show, but I've just never gotten behind it.
The paint scheme does look good. I want to stress that though. Adam Buzzer did a good job on the paint scheme for sure. I do selfishly like the 22 and the 81 this evening because they're carrying those Whiplash SimCam's colors. I of course will not be nominating either one as I painted the two of them. We do have Jordan White on the racetrack. I do like this look. I think this might be one that I go for, but I also was looking around the field and trying to see, well, Cole Lewis already qualified, but I'm going to nominate him. If you've seen his paint scheme before, as Evan Patinko lays down a heater. He goes third here in qualifying. That's one to pay attention to on the qualifying side. But Cole Lewis has got his Tito's paint scheme back out. I quite like that. What do you think of this one here for Dakota Bly?
I'll tell you what, it looks flashy. I really like it. I think the purple ends up mixing a lot better like with the black than I ever thought. And you know, I feel like this should look worse than it is, and it's surprising to me that it looks as good as it does. I really like this scheme.
I like this one as well for Carl Pooler. I've always liked this since they unloaded it earlier this season. Scott Fritz, of course, did a Jimmy Johnson throwback, as he every so often does. Coulter Clark out there in those same Red Bull colors. Clark went fastest, then got unseated by Scott Fritz, who goes just a little bit faster. I've got a couple of nominations in mind. Do you have a couple?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if it's been changed, but I do remember when I was looking at like 2 races prior, I remember seeing a scheme that really caught my eye. That 21 scheme. Look, I don't know if he's changed it, but when I saw it, it was the Wood Brothers scheme. I really hope that it didn't change, because then it'd be pretty embarrassing. But you can say what you want, but I'm a sucker for classics. I love those types of games.
Let me see if I can fire up the replay of it and find him.
I didn't see him in practice, so I have no. Yeah, there it is. Like, I'm a sucker for classics. I mean, it's just they've been using that scheme since they've existed for a reason now. It's amazing. I love it so much.
So that is going to be William Maple Jr. And we can go ahead and nominate him. That works. So we'll get William on the graphic, and, well, there we go, onto the grid. We can take a look, though, in just a moment. If I type in my nominations and your first, do you have a second one out there?
I mean, yeah, you were talking about it, that 81 scheme. Like, I don't want to seem like I'm sucking up to you because you made it, but it's just, I really like the design. I think it just stands out in like all the right ways. I just love looking at it, right? And that's something you want from a scheme. You want a scheme that like looks nice and you just enjoy how it feels. And I mean, that's just a scheme that I enjoy looking at. It makes it just makes my brain happy.
See, Evan hasn't gridded up yet to show off the 81, but here's that 52 that I was talking about for Cole Lewis, and we just haven't had a chance to really nominate it yet. But I do like what's going on here for the 52 car, the metallic orange and whatnot. It looks like a Tito's bottle. There is the number 81 of Evan Patinko, and I just saw one over on the corner of the frame that I need to get a better look at. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was talking about classic. I should have chose that one.
Yeah, Gray Walker, you've outdone yourself here this evening. That is a beauty, and that will be my other nominations. So I'll nominate Cole Lewis and Gray Walker. You've got William Maple and Evan Patinko. Boy, this is a good-looking one for Gray Walker. This is Interstate Batteries in the best of ways. Well, we don't have Zach Murtis just yet, so we'll keep you in the booth a little bit longer here, Super, and we'll get to the grid as drivers roll off here in just a couple of moments. That poll has now gone live for Best in Show here this evening, but let's go down the order and see where drivers are starting here tonight in the 13th race of 18 this season. Rolling off on the front row, Scott Fritz and Coulter Clark will lead us to the green here tonight at Echo Park Speedway. Josh Parent and Johnny Wood Jr. in row number 2. Josh Parent, of course, won last week at Darlington. His teammate starts right behind it, Evan Patinko. He'll start 5th. Jordan White to his outside. Dustin Stallings, Anthony DeSeo in row 4. And back in row 5, Brendan Maddox and Sam Dyer. In the 11th spot, you'll find Stephen Borbell, Zach Maddox in 12th. Back in 13th, it's Carl Pooler, that last driver in over the cut line, trying to keep it that way here tonight. William Maple Jr., though, will start from 14th spot. 15th brings us Adam Buzzio. Richard Wolsifer just celebrated a birthday. He's back in 16th. Dan Stockaro, 17th. Tim Henderson, 18th. And to complete your top 20, Cole Lewis and Zach Hall. And Zach Hall, he's got a little bit of work to do to stay above that cut line. We'll see what he can do here tonight at Echo Park. Back at 21st, Gray Walker, Rusty Rafferty to his outside, then Robert Warrior Jr. and Cody Dorsey, and finally Dakota Bly and Jason Bottoms make up row 13, the final here this evening. Whiplash SimCam's race details look like this: 165 laps. That is the length of the race, but stage 1 will take us just to lap 50, then 115 to the end. 4 change sets out there. That's the usual, 70% fuel as well. It is, after all, a typical BRB Sundance Pro Series race. As the iRacing.com safety car pulls down to the relative safety of pit lane, we quiet the music, we louden the engines. Here we go. The Performance Food Service Food-Centric 250 is underway at Echo Park Speedway. Off turn number 2. Everybody up through the gears. By now they're in 4th. Screaming at 175 miles per hour to turn number 3. A big run already on the outside. That belongs to Coulter Clark. Let's see how lap 1 goes here to the stripe. Already the outside looks good here, super. And those runs are going to be potent up there all night long. It's going to be a conveyor belt usually. Getting the outside car clear, they drop down to the bottom maybe and rinse and repeat. We might see, though, as Clark and Johnny Wood stay up high, we might see these guys decide to stay up top.
I mean, yeah, that's just something that you end up seeing a lot during these super speedway races. It's just the high lane tries to stay with each other, right? Like, you can go the inside lane all you want, but the high lane's always going to be there. It might not, push you all the way to the front, but it's at least going to be a reliable and consistent way to hold your position. I feel like we're going to see a lot of drivers stay up there today.
Scott Fritz backing down to the 4th spot, down on the inside lane. One thing about Atlanta, whether you want to call it Echo Park or Atlanta or whatever you want to call it, it's faster, I feel like. So the speeds technically are slower, but everything happens faster here than Daytona because the track is a mile shorter. It's similarly built otherwise, really high banks, decently wide racetrack, but tighter corner radius, and the straightaways are shorter. I mean, everything just happens faster despite going about the same speed. So there's less time to react, I feel like, and it's really hard to stay off of one another. If you get one guy out of line, it can shake up a line and cost everybody rows back. But seems like everybody's getting the hang of things here early. 4 laps in, and bottom line starting to come back.
Yeah, like I said earlier, the bottom line, they're always going to be faster than the high lane, but the high lane's always going to be there. As you see, I believe that Fritz is trying to poke his way out now for the lead. Just trying to get in that side draft without turning Clark. Close, I'll say that.
Really good race out front so far, but that is to be expected. These ARCA cars, they're a little bit slower typically in a straight line versus maybe an O'Reilly's Auto Parts Series car. Kind of around a truck, honestly, a Craftsman truck. They're very, very similar to those vehicles, and they're big. They've got a lot of aero to them. They cast a large wake of air behind them. That allows for big runs and big draft moves that I think we'll see over the course of the evening. As Scott Fritz goes up to block the outside, he kind of takes over up top for the first time. William Maple grabs the wall, and that's going to make him 3 wide deeper in this field. Wolsifer does cut him a break.
Like a hang of it, though, barely.
Yeah, Wolsifer cut Maple a break, and that was very, very smart in that situation.
I mean, yeah, he tagged the wall. He's going to lose a whole bunch of speed. That's just a really good split-second decision right there to back off, because you don't want him cutting right across you when he's going that slow. Takes out you, him, plenty of others. No one wants that to fill into the road.
for the race lead once again. Coulter, Clark, Scott, Fritz. Fritz back down low in front of Parent and Patinko. Clark back out front as the leader on the top side of the racetrack as we work lap number 8. That's a cool view. I do enjoy that view down the backstretch. These guys wrap it off of turn number 2 and firing down to turn number 3. Jordan White a little high up there in 3 and 4, but got back down in line. We're going to see that a lot as the laps go on each run. It's going to happen more and more throughout the entire field. Drivers just washing up a little bit. The front tires aren't going to be gripping quite as nicely. The tires are going to get worn out. It's going to be harder and harder to stay completely in line in traffic. We're going to see guys moving around the racetrack a lot more. And I do want to mention one car is off pace and out of the draft. Actually, 2 cars are out of the draft. One is a couple of laps down. That is Cole Lewis. I'm not sure what's happened to Cole, but he is 26th, 3 laps down. Sam Dyer, meanwhile, is also off the pace, back here in 25th, but he is still on the lead lap for now.
Yeah, I mean, you just hate to see it, right? This early into the race, if something already goes wrong, right? It's just, at that point, it feels like, why are you even there?
It's definitely hard to stay motivated when that happens to you early, but I will say this league as a whole does a pretty good job of staying in the race, even when they meet some setbacks. And I like that Cole is still out here, Sam is still out here. They're going to race on and see what they can do to get back into it here tonight. Let's take a look from the fan cam. I know Brendan Maddox is a big fan of this literal fan cam. Some shots around the racetrack as if you were a fan in the infield or in the stands. Getting some different vantage points. And this, I think, really shows the whole magnitude of this field. Even though they're only 25 cars strong, 26 cars strong tonight, it is really, really cool to see this entire field around these corners.
Yeah, and I mean, I've actually personally been to this track, and let me tell you, it is amazing, right? Even just seeing like this many cars, right? Like I'm imagining it from when I was there, and it is. Believe me, that this is impressive how like tightly wound they are, how well they're all keeping it together. There's some amazing drivers in this field.
These guys doing a good job of staying off of one another, keeping things in control so far. We're only 12 laps in once we come off of turn 4 right here, but these tires will wear out quickly. One thing we didn't get to look at just yet is the MX Wraps sim weather, race weather here. 80 degrees in the air, 92 on track. It's a little bit warmer than you might expect in January right after a winter storm, but if you look here at the sim date, that will tell you why. May 15th in the sim, 6 p.m. actually, so we could see, racing into sunset maybe as this night goes on. The sun will get much lower in the sky and get at least a little bit closer to sunset. I don't know that we actually get there. I don't know the lights even turn on, but we will at least go later into the day.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, as fans, right, you love seeing the sunset, but I highly doubt that any of these drivers are going to like driving directly into the sun. I think that as we get later into the day, right, we might see a little bit more chaos with the sun starting to glare into the driver's eyes.
Yeah, I've been to this racetrack several times for legend car racing as, wow, Zach Maddox nearly hit the wall there on the front stretch. I don't recall exactly where the sun sets, but I want to say it shines towards the grandstands. I don't think it sets behind the grandstands here. I think it's at least in some way towards the grandstands. It might be off to one of the corners, but that is going to... at least either down the front stretch or back. I think down the front stretch maybe. There will be sun in these guys' eyes as the day goes on. And we might even be able to see here. Yeah, based on that, yeah, the sun's going to set down there, I think, behind turn 1. So down the front stretch, we might see that be an issue. Maybe for some of the VR users or guys with better monitors that run HDR. It is a sim, let's be real. That the sun isn't actually piercing their corneas, but it might still be a little bit unpleasant to deal with.
Yeah, but it's always nice to pretend like this is real life, isn't it?
Yeah, thankfully the hits they take are not real. And I guarantee you we have a couple of those later on in the race. Maybe not here in stage 1, but later on here tonight. And, on that point, actually, Evan Patinko had to jump out the gas big time. That stacks up the whole bottom lane. There they go. Carl Puller's in it. Carl Puller is in this first crash. And he has slowed down the banking. The car looks okay. He's got some right front damage. Oh my gosh. That. Ooh. Get your breath.
I mean, that's just a result of super speedway racing. I mean, just a checkup, everyone got backed up. There was just nothing he could do. He was just a passenger in that moment.
Let's go back and, well, actually, accidentally gone back into slow-mo. So let's reset this. And we will find the moment that crash started back in turns 1 and 2. It seemed like it started kind of with the 88 of Tim Henderson. He's the white, blue, and black car on the outside. And Pooler, in the checkup, tried to abandon and go high. And he just ran right into Tim. And boy, everybody did a fantastic job of missing the 88 and 71. That could have been so much larger for all of those drivers back there. I dare say we have our very first Murtis Mega Miss of the evening for especially the 32 here of Zach Hall. Watch him. He's going to come by on the outside and just squeeze on through there. You see the yellow spoiler. That was impressive.
What they say in Days of Thunder, go high. You can drive through it.
Well, that's one way to make an entrance. Welcome, Zach Murtis, to the broadcast booth. Here's a look at it for Zach Hall. And yeah, you see Pooler just went up, tried to abandon high, and wow.
Woo. Can't see much through the smoke, so that's really, really impressive to see. You know what you hate to see it for? Carl Pooler.
Yeah, that's a big blow to Pooler's day. I think we can go ahead and let's run a 3-man booth here, guys. So, Super, I'm going to pivot over to you. For the 71 here of Pooler, we watch here from his onboard. They stack up quick on the bottom. That checkup started with Patinko. He had to go high. I mean, that split second that we're talking about, that is just a product of racing at a track like this.
Yeah, I really don't blame him at all. I mean, that's a decision I think 90% of people would have made. I mean, like, he was just going too fast. It was either like try go up and avoid him, or he just drive straight into the back of like the guy ahead of you. I mean, there's just really like that's just a move 90% of us would have made. It's really unfortunate there was a guy on the outside. I don't blame him at all. That's just something that happens in racing.
It's part of it for sure. I do want to look here at the track map again this evening because something you'll notice versus the older Atlanta Motor Speedway track maps that we've had is the yellow in turns 3 and 4 wraps all the way around the inside of the racetrack. Now, there is a new pit procedure here at Echo Park Speedway on the sim, and that forces these drivers to pit on the inside of turns 3 and 4. It's now a forced decision. They have to pit down there below the white lines and on the apron. They do not get a choice anymore. It used to be you kind of had an option. Leagues did, at least, if they wanted to enforce it or not, and now it's forced. They have to pit down there. That isn't as big of a deal for the pit stops we just had under caution, but when we get to green flag racing, if we have any green flag stops tonight, it is going to be treacherous. Going to be a little bit like watching everybody flee in North Carolina to Lowe's and Home Depot for more salt, as we might have more winter weather on the way and there's still ice on the ground. It's going to be watching these guys just go flying off into the corner on the apron, trying to slow down to pit speed, and we'll see if their tires grip or not. It's going to be a little bit chaotic for sure, but yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, Andrew, they can go faster before they hit the commitment line to what is actually pit road, right?
Well, I believe you're on the sim, so it should
all the way around.
It should tell you the legitimate rules, but I believe it is one speed. The way NASCAR does it is one speed in 3 and 4, and then a slower speed when they actually hit the commitment line. But I think it might be one speed all the way around here on iRacing. I'm not entirely sure. We'll find out. We'll find out. But here we go. We're about to restart here in stage number 1. We've still got everybody in the race, even Cole Lewis, who was not able to get a lap back. He is sitting back there in the 26th position as we come back around to a restart. So, everybody, hold your breath again. Here we go. 30 laps to go. They should be in range now to make it on fuel. We should be safe from green flag stops here in stage 1. The Performance Food Service 250 is back underway. And Coulter Clark got a great restart that time. That was really impressive off the bottom lane. The top side was caught sleeping. And this is giving an opportunity now to Josh Parrott if he wants to try to go high. Of course, somewhat in the back of his mind is Evan Patinko, his teammate, as Patinko, I think, just got hit.
Yeah, that was really close. Big catch there in the tri-oval. Now he's next to his other teammate, Anthony Teseo, squatted in right between... Squatted. Where are my words today? He's sandwiched in between Richard Wilsifer and Brendan Maddox as they're 3 wide. Boorbell to the top side. Slots back in line. This is getting really dicey, and these guys up here, they need stage points. Wilsifer especially needing those stage points, as well as Patinko.
Yeah, Patinko, Pooler, White, Wolsifer, they all need stage points. Blinkering out the front of the field as Josh Parrott takes over here from lap 22 onto lap 23. There's one out the pit lane. That's Carl Pooler. He's going to go a lap down, having served his penalty for causing that caution. And there goes Scott Fritz to the inside. So we're starting to see the lead revolve a little bit and change hands, certainly more than we did in that first run, Super. This seems like a whole new race. These guys are just a bit more racy up front.
I mean, yeah, I think just like after seeing that, right, after seeing that incident, I feel like a lot of guys are going to be thinking, like, I do not want to be in the back of that pack. Imagine if, as we see 3 wide right now, proving my point, I think people want to be like, I want to be in the front. I don't want to be in the middle. I would hate if that were to happen to me. There's 0 chance I'm going to be stuck in something like that. I think we're just going to see a whole lot more aggressiveness as people try to get out of the caution zone.
Coulter Clark caught in the middle. What is that, Zach?
That is the sucker spot.
Oh, in the wall! Massive crash!
Big hit! William Maple Jr. is involved. That is a big impact for the number 15 Pit Stop TV racing machine out of Whiplash Simcams. Or no, Whiplash Racing. Oh, Lord. Words tonight. William Maple Jr., you see him down there. Teseo's crab walking. This is not good for the 15. Not necessarily in a playoff or chase contention position. But someone like Stephen Borbell, who's towards the top of the point standings, he's going to be very affected. Robert Moyer Jr. is also not looking too good in that number 16 Greg Biffle tribute.
It's a little bit of a throwaway for Borbell. He's at least got points to lean back on, but I know this was an important race for him. Of course, it is the Performance Food Service Food-Centric 250. So I know he was looking forward to giving it his best shot. Unfortunately, he's got a lot of damage, and his run is just about over. Teseo's crashing here in the background. I think he ought to just tow it.
Yeah, that's another issue that we're going to see. There are no fast repairs, so I think that pretty much this is just going to be it for a lot of these drivers. Everyone that was involved seriously in that incident, I think their day is just over, and that really sucks this early on into the race.
I think this all goes back to Clark getting shuffled into the middle, the sucker hole. He's stuck here 3 wide, and it just stacks everybody up. When they come off of turn 4, you'll see what I mean, because they're all trying to adjust and make sure there's room to go 3 wide. And on the front stretch, looks can be deceiving. At Talladega and Daytona, the front stretch, the tri-oval there, has a lot more banking. Here at Atlanta, it's flat, and that is really, really difficult to handle in a speedway, super speedway setting like this. As Pooler got a piece of that too. It is really hard to come around the quad over here at Atlanta in this kind of setting now. And you'll see here, Teseo's trying to give room at first, and then he gets called clear at one point, so he goes up and just slams the 2 of Borbell in the fence. Maple, Henderson, and so many more go with. Moyer nowhere to go. Rafferty slams the 15. Pooler got a piece of it. Just absolute calamity on the front straightaway here.
And, I mean this in no offensive way towards Anthony. He's a great driver. I love him. He's been doing really good this season. But the move right there, I feel like just stems from a bit of lack of experience. I don't want to say lack of experience. Maybe just, I don't know. I don't really know what else to call it as. But I think he was really just reacting to what was going on with Coulter Clark in front of him. And wanted to make sure that he was not involving himself in it, but in that process, ended up just pushing himself up the racetrack further than he really needed to go, and I think that's just what necessitated that whole incident.
I think really it just comes down to split second again.
Yeah, and I think this actually just really goes to highlight what Jourdain said in the pre-race, as we see a very close miss right there, but he ended up saying in the pre-race, just like, look out for the tunnel vision. And I think that might have been what happened. He saw what was happening in front. I think he just got distracted for a little bit. And he must have heard clear from his spotter or something. I don't know what happened, and he just thought it was time to go up.
Yeah, I mean, he just made a mistake. Flat out, he made a mistake. He moved up when he shouldn't have. There you see the close call again for Jason Bottoms. That was a very near miss for the 17, but I want to get one more look at this specifically for the 71 of Carl Pooler. Here's the onboard for driver 71. Down the front straightaway. Tries to check up. Zach Hall just barely got tapped, and there Pooler got a piece. The right side flattened pretty nicely off the left side of the 2. I think he'll be okay. Maybe a little. Yeah, a little bit.
Looks like his nose is sticking up a little bit. Something's wrong with the back of that car.
I want to say the right rear is towed out now.
Yeah.
From what had happened with that 71 car, and this is big, Andrew. This is huge because Pooler is on the cut line. He is 10 points above Evan Patinko. Wait, no, hold on. Let me make sure I'm doing my math
10 above
correctly.
Patinko coming into
points,
tonight.
Yeah. 10 above Patinko.
Same as caution one.
I'm getting into my point scenarios. I will save that for the end of the stage. I'm not gonna go into all of that and whatnot. I've been doing math all day, and you know how much I hate to do math.
For someone who hates math, you do it an awful lot. But yes, Carl Pooler definitely in danger right now. And Borbella has already called it a night. It seems Teseo and Moyer are still in the session at least. There is Carl Pooler back into the line. He's going to come into the restart at the very back of the field. Here we go. Restart zone coming up. Josh Parent going to lead us into the restart zone here, and we are going back green. Lap 29 of a 50 lap, stage number 1, the Performance Food Service Food Centric 250. Barreling off of turn number 2. The field a little bit lighter. Big block there from Parent. He gets up ahead of the 48. Now slides back down low ahead of Johnny Wood Jr. I think Josh is getting a little overzealous for lap 29.
Gotta let the man make the runs, though. He is controlling the field right now as the top 3 are now single file down on that bottom line. Zach Maddox right behind them with Evan Patinko in line and Adam Buzzio in the Dragon Ball Z car. I don't care what either of you say. Love the car, love the hype. Dragon Ball is an amazing anime. Notes for later, though, but Woltifer also needing to get some of these points to make sure he stays above the cut line. Him and Patinko running very close to each other. I feel like this is one thing we need to watch, guys, because we don't know what's going to happen as Patinko says, I'm going to take it 3 wide, sends it to the bottom, doesn't complete the run, Buzzio's on the back bumper, and Patinko's going to end up losing big time out of this.
I feel like Evan wanted to go super, and then he just backed out there, and that's difficult. You got to commit, or you will lose time, and it seems like he lost time in all of that.
Yeah, I did just notice that Jourdain White now leading. We were talking about him. He was minus 18. Now look at him. He's taking the lead. Right? I think he's trying to put Matters. Oh, sorry, as he falls to second. We see a checkup on the inside, but I think Jourdain's trying to put matters into his own hands. Right? He's trying to say that he controls his destiny. Right? He's pushing high up in that pack.
I agree. I think he is trying to go ahead and just take this one into his own hands. He got up into the lead. He did get shuffled back pretty quick, but he's got a good pusher behind and a future teammate, as it was announced that Josh Parent will be leaving Whiplash Racing after Season 5, headed to Spirit Racing in Season 6, where Jourdain White now races. So those two already have a little bit of chemistry. They race in other leagues together. It's not too crazy to imagine that Josh might help Jourdain out if the opportunity presents itself, as you're seeing already here on lap 33 of 165. Scott Fritz leading, Dustin Stalling second, Jourdain White now third place, Wolsifer moving up, he's fourth, Patinko, he's the closest to Pooler, who's had some troubles already here in stage 1, Zach. Patinko's the closest, but he's not where he wants to be. He needs a lot more than 1 stage point, and now he's not even in the top 10.
He needs to be higher up. I know, this is turning out to be a bit of a tricky situation as Wolsifer moves closer and closer to leading the pack. We see lap cars up front. This could start dictating the flow of the front pack here, And Patinko needs to start making some moves. He needs to get back up there. I did tune in for qualifying. I know I wasn't here for everything. I was a little late to the party, but I saw how these guys were running. I saw that he was able to get up there and get a good starting position, but he's got to be able to keep it. Patinko has, in my opinion, the most to lose on the cut line right now, because he is the closest to Carl Pooler. He's the closest to Richard Wolsifer right now. And with Jourdain White running up towards the front, this could pose a bit of a problem, because White is a little bit further down, but he is still relatively in the game. Jourdain White is sitting 18 points outside the cut line. If he earns the stage points that he's about to get, well, that puts him, if I'm not mistaken, if he's running 5th right now, that's 6 points. That puts him 12 points out. That still puts him behind Evan, but that puts him ever so closer if Wolsifer or Pooler have any more problems.
Stallings up the racetrack, 3 wide, right ahead of Jourdain White here. Coulter Clark goes around the outside. Always tough when you get shuffled 3 wide here at Atlanta to get back in line and figure out where you need to be, but Dustin finds a gap, gets back up there, as now 6'5 Motorsport takes over the front of the field. Richard Wolsifer over Johnny Wood Jr. That is where Richard needs to be. Needs to control his own destiny, earn as many points as he can. This is everything that Richard wanted out of this race so far. We're going to get up into the lead, get that bonus point for leading like Evan Patinko was talking about. This is a good situation right now for car 56. Let's see how long this lasts.
I think this also really goes to to highlight what I ended up mentioning earlier, right? You're going to see a lot of this on the outside, all those moves, right? Because the outside's always going to be there, right? You're not going to always be able to rely on the inside. We've seen, 2-3 times it's checked up, at least, right? And the outside lane, right? We haven't really seen too many issues come from that outside lane. So while the inside lane might be the fastest, a lot of these guys are going to want to stick to the outside because that's going to be a lot safer.
I agree. The top side always feels safer to me on these kinds of racetracks, whether it's Daytona, Talladega, or here at Echo Park Speedway. Certainly here at Echo Park more than the other two. I like to be up high if possible. Slightly wider radius around the corner, a little more room to move around. The bottom lanes typically to be right down on that white and red line. But something to be said for the bottom as Scott Fritz charges to the lead. That's going to bring Jourdain White along with. Jourdain goes low, Fritz goes high, and Jourdain's now going to have the bottom lane clean air to try and charge underneath the 48. He will do so. Jourdain White back to the point now, lap 40 of 50 here in stage 1. Look at the runs.
And as the bottom takes form, I kind of have to disagree with you both on the top side being safe. We've seen the top side be involved in both incidents so far. We saw someone come up off the bottom, hit someone on the top twice. So I feel like the safe zone has got to be more on the bottom. I feel like there's more room to breathe. I feel like there's more space in case a wreck happens. And we've seen a lot of guys be prone to overcorrect. And usually with an overcorrection, you end up going up the track. I know with banking, it's always the mindset of they're going to end up spinning down the track. But I don't know. As we see Jourdain White in the sucker spot, we're going backwards in the Toyota as the Fords of Whiplash Racing and Adam Buzzio are starting to move to the front. This is what we need to see out of guys like Evan Patinko, Coulter Clark.
Yeah, Jourdain White shuffled up high. Josh Parent, I thought Josh might have worked with him, but Josh got him out of line. That moved Jourdain up the racetrack, and that puts Patinko now near the top 5. He did briefly hit the top 5. Now he's back into 6th as the top lane got going big time. Here comes Jourdain all over again. He got in line there ahead of Dustin Stallings. So that's that alliance between Spirit and Maverick working out. You know, Dustin gave Jourdain a spot in line, and now Jourdain and Patinko are right next to one another, both battling for the same opportunity to get into the chase. Jourdain's just got a lot more to overcome, a lot more points to make up, as there's certainly an open door now. I didn't think the door was very much open at the top of the night with Carl Pooler in 21st. Oh boy, is it open.
Oh boy, it's getting dicey.
Parent was looking underneath Scott Fritz there. Josh is trying to go forward. There he goes.
Oh, are you?
3 wide.
We're gonna put Fritz 3 wide. That is not what you want to see. Inside lane, everyone on that's gonna go a whole lot slower now. And see, again, this is why I was talking about that outside lane. It's just easier to check up on the inside.
Dustin Stallings with a fantastic catch in the middle of the field. Everything shaking up. The front of the field now moving around. A lot more single file. In the wall is Jourdain White. Oh my goodness, what just happened?
The top line broke up. That's what just happened. The bottom line is connected. It's 2 cars up top. It's the 6-5 racing cars. And Johnny Wood Jr. could potentially slot in line in front of Coulter Clark, but it's not going to happen right now. Fritz is trying to make moves on the outside. Does Patinko go top? No, he stays with his teammate, and Adam Buzzio down on the bottom. This is starting to change hands here, guys. We're starting to see a whole new top 10 take into effect as William Maple Jr. goes another lap down. This is the fight for the stage points. Evan Patinko, Jourdain White, Richard Wolsifer, and Coulter Clark, the 4 drivers closest to the cut line that are the ones to watch at the moment. They're the ones that need the stage points the most. I should have a number as we get to the end of the stage, but it's turning into an all-out fight for stage points, which is what you talked about the entirety that we've been with the BRB Pro Series. Maximize those stage points.
Yeah, you've got to get up there and get all the stage points you can here. I've been preaching that for seasons now. That's your easiest opportunity to gain points when others are not. You got to go up there, get in front in the stage. Anywhere in the top 3 really is prime territory. Top 5 is still a good stage. But anything in the top 10, anything to earn stage points at all is going to be a win over somebody who doesn't. As Tim Henderson now goes 3 wide, that's going to bottleneck things a little bit more. That puts 2 cars in the middle, Jourdain in the fence. As Parrott and Patinko try to get going down low, they're stuck behind Fritz and Clark now. They didn't have that resistance earlier in this stage. Now they have 2 cars directly ahead that's holding them back on the bottom lane as Fritz tries to play Pied Piper. Johnny Wood Jr. stuck in the middle. 3 laps to go in this stage, Super.
Yeah, we got 1 man in the sucker spot, and right, I honestly think that once, once Wood ends up like cycling out, I would not be surprised if we see 3 wide. We're getting to the point in this stage where you got to make moves, you got to go. I wouldn't be surprised if we see 3 wide racing, because you already see it right back there. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 3 wide until the end of the stage.
Big move, Coulter Clark to the basement. He pulls a dummy on Scott Fritz for the race lead. Wolsifer goes with 2 to go on the stage. Here comes Patinko.
Patinko goes down to the bottom, ends up trying to go with Wolsifer. He slots back in front of his teammate, Josh Parrott. That gives Wood the top line, and they're going to try to use that momentum to push themselves forward with 3 wide behind. Tim Henderson by himself on the top side. Patinko shifts back to the middle. It's going to be white flag on the stage. Coulter Clark, he gets tipped. Is he going around? He saves it. We're 4 wide. Back to 3. Brendan Maddox ends up benefiting from it all. Gets behind Scott Fritz. Henderson still rolling the top side.
Jourdain White, oh, there goes Fritz
Tracking.
to the inside. Patinko's now to second. He's trying to get ahead of the 75. He's going to get tipped. Patinko down through. He's going to get slammed. Parent up in the air.
Teammate.
That's going to be it, I think, for the 81. And Johnny Wood Jr. is going to sail away with the stage win. Jourdain White, it was off of his bumper that Patinko went sliding. White's going to take second in the stage, but will he get credit for it? I wonder. Because he caused the caution, I think he will still. But that is certainly going to be a point of contest, I think, in general. But, boy, that Patinko's junk.
I have to see a replay of that. I know that right, he went off the bumper Jourdain, but that's just not something I feel like's intentional. I have to see a replay of that.
No, certainly not. It's just circumstance.
I need to see what happened. I need to see if he. Oh, look at, he's in like that's the crab walk right there.
Yeah, Parent just barely getting back to the box. He's he's mostly safe. I think he'll be okay in the chase, but it's gonna deal a blow certainly to his seating. But boy, this is not a good situation at all for Evan Patinko. He goes from having a shot at the stage win to very quickly being crashed, no stage points, and probably done and out of it for the chase. Here's a look at it. We're going to go high above here. Watch Jordan White in the 83. Well, there goes Scott Fritz. White comes up and runs right into the... Yeah, it's pushing the pusher. I mean, it's... Zach,
How many times have I said it?
Yeah, that's a rookie mistake. That is something that
Don't push the
Jordan...
pusher.
That is something that Jordan will learn over time. You do not push the pusher. I forget who it was, if it was Carl or Evan that even said it in pre-race. To not push the pusher.
What's the drinking game again?
Take a shot every time we say it. You'd have about a 6-pack already. Oh my gosh. I mean, to just catch his teammate too. Wow. That's an abysmal stage 1 for Whiplash Racing. But more importantly for the chase, this is everything that Jordan will have needed. Certainly a big stain on the day for Evan Batinko. Even if he can continue, it's going to be a much worse situation for him. And, Parent's going to be out of this thing early. I want to see his ride in the air.
Yeah. Honestly, it just looks like Batinko just has front nose damage. It's really the only thing that he ended up hitting. Maybe a little bit of the side from that wall, but I think he should be able to get out maybe a couple laps now.
Oh my gosh. Josh Parent slammed in all of that, and that actually also affects our MX Scraps Best in Show winner, and that's going to be the 18 of Gray Walker winning the Best in Show vote. And boy, I agree with that call big time. That's a great looking number 18, but then you see this incident for him. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's going to be wounded if even able to continue. But Super, it's been a lot of fun having you join us here for commentary for the first time at Pit Stop TV. We're going to, switch back over to our 2-man booth. But Super, I think we're going to invite you certainly back for some more. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch the rest of this race here at Echo Park unfold.
Yeah, it's personally been a lot of fun for me. I know that I'm 100% going to be watching this on my phone while I try to fix my computer, but I'm just excited to be a part of this. It's been really great. Thank you for having me. Absolutely
good to have you. And to pivot right back over to Zach here, that's also going to thin the field quite a bit.
Yes, it is.
That's Evan and Josh certainly out. I think Gray as well. Yeah, Gray's done. That's 3 cars at least taken out in that crash, and it does seem as though Evan is trying to continue.
I checked in actually with the Whiplash guys. Evan apparently has the ability to get his damage fixed, so he's going to try to stay in it, which is good to hear from him, especially trying to make the chase. Here's how we run. Him and Jordan are tied. They both need to outscore Carl by 11 positions on the racetrack.
There you go. 11 spots. That's what they need to make up. We'll see how this goes. Jordan White and Johnny Wood Jr. lead us back into the restart zone. We are once again racing here at Echo Park Speedway. Stage number 2 underway. And there was so much to talk about there under that yellow. We didn't get to talk to Johnny Wood Jr., but there you see Jordan White is going to have to come in and serve a penalty for having caused that accident. So this is going to set him back, and we've seen a relatively green flag trend so far tonight. I don't want to jinx anything, Zach, but it's been pretty good racing so far. For him to have to serve this penalty at the beginning of this run, if we go green for a while, this could really hurt Jordan.
Thinks what? You're the chaos bringer.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely been some chaos tonight. I mean, look at this. The field is definitely broken up now. You've got 10 or so good cars in the front, and then a handful of guys further back. It's literally the top 9 and then 10th on back, separated.
Yeah,
and Evan's way off pace. He's bringing it right back down to the pit lane. I think he might be done.
This is going to hurt him real bad as he pulls it back in.
I think he realized just how damaged it is.
He's trying to do what he can to make the chase. Barely makes it by the commitment cone right there. And the possibility is still open for him to be able to get it done as he brings it back into the security of the pit lane. But going a lap down is definitely going to create a situation not beneficial for him. There you see Josh Parent still stuck in the box. as Patinko now goes 1 lap down.
I'll tell you what,
He's still in the car, so it looks like he's going to try.
those Whiplash SimCams cars have not been good luck for anybody yet. We need to figure something out about that. But look at this, Adam Buzzio now, front of the field here in Stage 1. This is a whole new race. Everybody that we saw out front early, Coulter Clark, Scott Fritz, Evan Patinko, Josh Parent, boy, they are all towards the back now. Scott is 17th. Let's see, Josh is more or less out. He's 22nd. Patinko off the racetrack in 19th. Yeah, this is...
Cody Dorsey going quickest.
This is a very different picture all of a sudden with a lot of new players out front. Tim Henderson leading as Zach Maddox gives him a push.
Nice to see Zach Maddox showing up and showing out, trying to see if he can get himself a win here tonight, and he's doing a pretty good job. He's been running up towards the front majority of the race, and it's good to see that he is having some really good speed and keeping that car moving forward. I hope he continues to moving forward as, oh baby, the Dragon Ball car. I just can't get over it, man. It looks so freaking good.
I've never understood it. I've never understood. It looks good. I recognize that, you know, people like it, and, you know, I'm not trying to hate on anything, but yeah, I personally just never really understood it. But
do you know how many kids have wanted to go Super Saiyan? Do you know how many times during the day I will just, at random, for no reason, just charge a Kamehameha? Like, Dragon Ball is awesome, man. I love anime.
all right, we have found his hyperfixation right now.
I'm a nerd. I'm a geek.
No, I love it. I'm glad to see the hype around it, at least. As the field has gotten very strung out, single file. This is the kind of look that I'm talking about that's going to hurt Jourdain. And potentially help Carl Pooler stay alive here in the chase. You know, we kind of were starting to count him out, but he's still very much in this. He has the points advantage over the rest as there's smoke ahead. Somebody might have just been sideways. I'm not really sure who, because
up there.
They're all getting single file.
Oh, they're doubled up a little bit further. I think that's Brendan Maddox. This is the first car on the outside. Yes. And it's Robert Moyer Jr. falling back now to Coulter Clark and Jourdain White up on the top line. And, you know, bringing up the cut driver since they all seem to be relatively close to each other. Coulter Clark above the cut line right now, so we got one car way up out of the groove. Is that Carl Pooler?
That's Scott Fritz.
Scott Fritz, thank you.
He's just gone one lap down. Worth noting, he's been passed up by Jourdain White. Jourdain now has the lucky dog position as Scott's got a good bit of damage. I think Jourdain's going to hold that.
And then you still got Evan Patinko now back on the racetrack. He's 4 laps down at the moment. He's in front of William Maple Jr., just sitting there riding. He's in front of Cole Lewis as well. I think a quick caution would definitely help this 81 car getting back into the mix of things. Potentially maybe take a wave around and get one of these laps back, because now he's got Scott Fritz and Jourdain White who both need to get their laps back before he can even get free pass positions. So this creates an all-new precedent.
Yeah, really not a good situation at all for Evan Patinko. I'm not riding him out just yet, as Josh Parent getting back on the racetrack as well. He is some 12 laps down along with Robert Moyer Jr. Robert just passed him, actually. But, look, I'm not riding Evan out of it yet. Anything can still happen here at Atlanta, but it is going to be very, very difficult for Evan to find himself in the chase here this season. As of now, William Maple about to go another lap down as the field races by. Tim Henderson leading. And yeah, Zach Maddox second rather. Dan Stoccaro third. That is cool.
Yeah, that's one thing I was about to point out. Stoccaro is up into that third spot. He had some issues at Darlington. I know we talked to him in the pre-race show last week, and he talked about the confidence and learning and building his portfolio and trying to find himself some good finishes. Hasn't seen the top 10 yet in terms of finishing positions, but super speedways are where everyone's kind of able to elevate themselves a little bit. It's certainly a different change of pace for most drivers, and we're seeing that reflected in the top 10, but I think Stoccaro is kind of starting to find himself in a good spot. Maybe, potentially, we could be talking to him at the end of the show.
Boy, what if this race ended now? This top three. This would not be at all what anybody was expecting coming to Atlanta this evening, but that's exactly what Speedway Motorsports wanted out of Atlanta, and now Echo Park Speedway, to, bring a super speedway experience to their properties and their venues, and that's what they've got here at Atlanta. Unpredictable is easily one of the most used adjectives when describing this new configuration here at this racetrack, as Zach Maddox goes down to block Dan Stoccaro. He's going to swap the race lead now with Tim Henderson. Henderson falls back, and Zach Maddox is officially leading in the BRB Sundance Pro Series. It's been a while.
I'm sure Brendan Maddox is punching the air right now for his sibling. I know, if I'm not mistaken, Zach Maddox has not scored a victory in the BRB Pro Series.
No.
So this would be a nice change of pace. I know Henderson has been a very super speedway-esque driver. I know we saw him doing very good at Daytona. He was our Stage 1 winner back at the opening race of the season. And then you've got a whole slew of drivers now doubled up right behind. So it's Henderson and Maddox. Zach Maddox, that is. Adam Buzzio topside next to Dan Stoccaro. Robert Moyer Jr. next to Johnny Wood Jr. And then you've got Dustin Stallings up on the top line next to Zach Hall. A little bit further back, you've got Richard Wolsifer and then Coulter Clark up top with Brendan Maddox down low. I mean, it's starting to take hold. As we roll through the rest of this race, you're going to start seeing how these guys are adapting to each other, finding the lines that they feel comfortable working with, and, just maybe hopefully just being patient. Just being patient. We already saw what happened at the end of Stage 1. I don't think we want to see that again anytime soon.
A nice reformation of the field, a nice battle out front here between Maddox and Henderson with 69 complete so far. A long ways to go. Long ways to go still. And that's why I talked about it with Evan earlier. How do you manage the mental aspect, the the attrition aspect of these kinds of races? This is relatively long. 254 miles here at this racetrack does not go by quickly. They're about to lap. That is Scott Fritz once again. So Fritz to the inside, he stays low. Maple down even lower. But these guys have a long ways to go still. And look at that, Buzzio now down to the bottom. Is he going Super Saiyan? Did I use that one right?
No, you didn't.
Well, I tried.
It was a good try. It was definitely in good context.
When it comes to anime, I am the epitome of hello fellow kids. I don't know anything about it.
Cloud to the front. Riding the Nimbus Cloud to the front. So I'm going to give you a little lesson here, okay? On the hood of the car is Goku. I think you can already know who Goku is. Goku is riding the Nimbus Cloud that was very prominent in the original Dragon Ball series when Goku was not able to fly. Before he had learned to fly, he rode the Nimbus Cloud. And to ride the Nimbus Cloud, you have to be pure of heart to be able to ride it. And, well, there's lots of jokes about that because, well, it's anime. But he rode that Nimbus Cloud to the front. I think that's the best analogy to use.
I hope Julie Buzzio is enjoying this conversation because I know she's watching.
I'm sure she's loving it.
I can only imagine. But, it's just, I've never gotten into anime. I'm sorry. But hey, we have got still a ways to go in this race. And let's talk fuel. These guys are, on a typical mile and a half, rated for about, 40 laps. 35 to 40 laps, somewhere in there, like we've seen at Kentucky and some other tracks. Somewhere around that. So, I don't have the exact number for what these guys can do, especially in the draft. It changes because they can be lifting and saving. But they're about halfway through that. They're 22 laps into a run right now. And, Zach Maddox is blinking a bunch. Let's hope that gets sorted out quickly. It does. But, these guys are about halfway through a run. Still a ways to go here before they would be thinking about pit stops. But those laps will click off quicker than you might expect. The race as a whole, it's going to feel like it's taking forever, but as we approach this round of pit stops, it's going to go by quick.
Here's one thing we should talk about when it comes to pit stops. Scott Fritz has taken that car back to the pit lane again as we're trying to get 3 wide. Fritz apparently is blowing through his right front tires.
Oh.
So he's starting to have some issues with that, and that could prevent him from making it to the end of the race. Atlanta being a little different compared to other super speedways where it's a bit tire heavy. Not exactly tire heavy, we'll say, but more just a little heavier on the tires. I hope that makes sense. But that's going to give a little bit of an advantage to someone like Evan Patinko, who is still 4 laps down, but now moves up a spot. So once if a caution comes out and Jordan White is eligible for the free pass, that's going to go to Evan Patinko.
Cole Lewis ahead of these guys is slow and off pace. Cole is 20th here in the 52 car. William Maple gets down out of the way. Cole's going to stay high, and so the field will go by. Thankfully, the front of the field is single file, but the mid-pack still double file. Here they go to the inside. Tim Henderson, Dan Stockaro. There goes Dustin Stallings, and contact there between Cole and Dustin. That puts Cole on the wall.
That was dicey. But we made it through. We're chilling. We're fine. We are relaxed, calm, cool, collective. I don't know where I'm going, but we're having fun.
It's interesting that it was Dustin that got into Cole there, because I've been wanting to talk about Dustin. He has dropped off the power rankings entirely. That's the wrong driver. Here we go. There's the right driver. He is the defending champion. He won earlier this season at Daytona. So back at a super speedway, it feels like maybe it's his time to get back on the saddle. All those wins last season, I think 4 in season number 4 in the next gen car. We all thought he'd be the best driver here in season 5 again. And maybe the first couple of weeks he was, but quickly, bad luck all season long. I don't know what it is about trying to repeat a championship. It is always so difficult. I'm not sure how Mason Houseman made it look so easy back in season 3, but the season 4 to season 5 repeat for Dustin Stallings, it has been derailed multiple times. It's hanging on by a thread. He can still make it happen, but boy, he needs to get things back under control quickly. So far tonight, though, he's in the top 5 as of now, as he puts his nose ahead there of Dan Stockaro. He's got a couple of laps led. It seems like he might be starting to get over some of the bad luck, but there's still so much time to go.
There is plenty of time to go right now. As we roll through turns 3 and 4, Evan Patinko is going another lap down. That's 5 down for the 81, excuse me. And you just gotta hate it. You see Josh Parent pulling out of line, maybe trying to go with his teammate. A little squeeze right there, falls back in, lets Patinko in line, and that's going to keep the 81 with the main pack. So should a caution come out, he'll be in a good spot where he can take advantage of getting those laps back potentially. Maybe, just maybe, getting a free pass or a wave around, anything that can get that 81 back into the mix of things. But 5 laps, that's going to be hard to recover, as we still have just about 83. No,
yeah, about 84 to go.
84 to go. Okay, I was on the money a little bit.
As these guys race on here, we'll take a look from some of the static cams and talk about what's upcoming here at Pit Stop TV, not just for the BRB Sundance Pro Series, but for all of the channel. Next up, we actually have some road racing this Thursday in a typical North American Racing League and Sim Auto Racing Association doubleheader. We've got GT3 cars at Spa this Thursday evening at 7:45 Eastern. That'll kick the night off. That's the pro drivers for the North American Racing League here in Season 9. Then we follow that up with some short track racing. We don't know where we're going. We had a little fun there. We took a super late model around Mount Washington for that promo picture, Zach, but we don't know where we're going. I will give a hint, actually. I know where we're going. I will tell you it is somewhere in the United States. That's all the hint I'm giving you.
Somewhere in the United States, he said.
There's still a lot to go off of, I suppose, or a lot of possibilities it could be, but yeah, we've got a doubleheader this Thursday.
Short tracks are in the United States?
I do. Well, I don't know exactly, but there's a great many. And then Tuesday, February 3rd, we get back to racing, get back to chase racing with BRB as we head out to Michigan International Speedway. Rumor has it we might have an extra show in there on February 1st. Stay tuned for that, as we might have some more going on here on the channel very, very soon. And of course, you can keep up with everything Pit Stop TV all across the social media landscape. Some links down below. And of course, you can punch in those handles and find us on those platforms. We certainly would appreciate a like, a follow, and whatever you can do to show your support here at the channel. Of course, Michigan will kick off the chase for the BRB Sundance Pro Series. We will then quickly go to Watkins Glen in New York, then Talladega down in Alabama. Some more racing like this, just on a larger scale. Then we will have Phoenix and Miami to cap off the season, and that just feels oh so right. Phoenix to Miami is just the way a stock car season should wrap up.
What is this, 2005?
Everything until about like 2019, bud.
Hey, I am still a big lover of Martinsville to Miami. I think a short track to an intermediate works really, really good. I feel like it's a good cap off. Not to mention Martinsville is it's a center hold, in my opinion, in not just NASCAR but in racing altogether. As we've got Valley Star Credit Union 300, the modifieds, the tour modifieds, that is, go there. Now we've got Mazda Miatas going around Martinsville. I mean, you get the best of both worlds, the best of multiple worlds. Short track racing, NASCAR racing, endurance racing. I mean, you gotta love it.
Hey, you know, Stephen Morbell was talking with some drivers earlier this weekend about the possibility of BRB going back to Martinsville. I'd be okay with that. I do enjoy some Martinsville Speedway racing. I don't know that it's going to happen, but maybe an early silly season rumor for the Season 6 schedule. Who knows? Something to keep your eye on as we approach pit stops. We're now at 36 laps complete this time by, and you can tell these guys are in pit stop formation because they're all single file around this racetrack. You see the entirety of this group, aside from one or two cars, around the bottom of this track getting ready for green flag pit stops. And Zach, whenever they do have to peel down to the backstretch, it's going to get crazy.
Could you imagine what would happen if the caution came out while these guys are trying to get laps back? If Jordan White runs long, okay, he stays out, gets his lap back. Caution comes out, that promotes Evan Patinko to get the free pass. However, if Patinko ends up getting more laps back, then that just helps when he gets a free pass, puts him closer to being back on the lead lap. The complexity of green flag stops could totally change the race. And I think that's something we really need to look at, because it's always an added possibility.
Here we go.
As we see, cars are ducking in. Buzzio heads on in. Both the 6.5 cars are heading on in. So Wolsifer, Johnny Wood Jr. down into the pit lane. That promotes Zach Maddox to the top of the standings with Henderson, Stallings, Brendan Maddox, and Coulter Clark, your top 5. Ooh, that's going to be dicey for Johnny right there. Have to take a look-see. No penalties so far for anybody. It looks like it's going to be all clean and green right now.
Here they go, a bunch more.
Down Henderson.
All the Toyotas, I feel like. Maverick and Spirit and Accelerate all coming in here. Maddox, Henderson, Stallings. They all got to meet pit speed and stay between the white lines. Jourdain pits with him, it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa, Sam Dyer and more. Oh, Stallings out into the grass. Henderson a little loose. Dyer was just sideways.
This could be dicey. Black flag Sam Dyer must have been speeding on the pit lane. That's going to be a hold right there. So that's going to be touch and go for guys that need to get their laps back as more cars ducking into the pit lane. Rusty Rafferty is going to lead Cody Dorsey, Dakota Bly, Jason Bottoms, and Zach Hall the mix down in there. And Robert Moyer Jr. tags the tail of this few cars heading into the pit lane. They've all kind of cut in there really tight.
Oh, Zach Hall out in the grass. That might be an unsafe pit exit.
Pit entry?
Well, because he exited the pit lane technically by going over the line.
Well, yeah, that's true. I'll tell you what, though. Car's still on the racetrack. Hall technically the leader, but you've got the Whiplash car still on the racetrack trying to get laps back. Patinko now one lap down.
Oh, problem. Zach Maddox back in. Looks like a penalty.
Oh,
maybe.
Let's take a look.
His pit stop was only 7.5 seconds. Did he maybe take a 2-tire stop and not 4?
It's possible.
No, I think he's speeding.
Nope. Oh, he spun.
He has completely thrown it away. Caught in 4K, unfortunately.
Maddox has spun into the pit lane. That's going to put him further laps down. Evan Patinko now 3 laps down. Dyer 2 down. And this is just going to rely on the fact that the Whiplash cars can stay on the racetrack. And as I say that, both him and Josh Parrott have pulled into the pit lane. I would estimate, though, take gas only. Try to see if they can keep those laps in any way, shape, or form. But with cars getting penalties, that's not going to allow these guys to potentially take waiver rounds or free passes. As Stallings leading the charge, he's going to let Buzzio have the bottom. You see them all single file, one car out of line. That's Rafferty back there.
There's nobody helping Dustin Stallings. He's going to slide back. 2 cars to the inside.
Contact.
Those seem to be Bottoms and Bly, teammates.
Ooh,
They gather it up, but boy, that was a moment for sure for those two. Bottoms gets it back together. Bly keeps on going. Buzzio now the race leader. Here comes Rafferty on the top side. Teammates to those two in Bottoms and Bly. Rafferty and Dorsey, boy, what could they do?
We'll have to wait and see.
Here comes Rafferty,
Zach
big
Maddox.
run. On the outside, Rusty Rafferty going to take over here on lap 95.
He's rolling around the top side. Gets a good run. You see lap cars up ahead. Big one on that list, Carl Pooler. Currently sitting at the tail end of the line. Potentially could go a lap down here. As Zach Maddox pulls back out onto the racetrack.
Yeah, there's Carl
He's out of pit
Pooler.
lane. There's Pooler. There's Fritz right behind him. Could play a little bit of defense. And I know that Maverick Motorsport guys are just itching at what is currently a stellar outlook for that 71 car. 10 points above the cut line. Currently, his biggest competition is experiencing the biggest issues. Jourdain has to outscore Carl by 11 positions on the racetrack, as does Evan Patinko. And currently, Carl is just riding. I mean, he doesn't have to do much. All of his competition, relatively at this point, is behind him, as he now ends up going 1 lap down on the field. The only competition at the moment that Pooler should be worried about would be Dakota Bly and Gray Walker, and even then, they are still far and out of the way to potentially have a shot at getting him.
Well, no, he's still got to worry about Jourdain. And Jourdain now is on the same lap as Carl, with Carl going a lap down. So they will now be racing for the free pass. And should we get a caution, that's a very important position to have. Because if we only get 1 caution maybe between the rest of these laps to go, if Jourdain can get that lap back and Carl doesn't, that could easily trap Carl down. Let's see, he would be 15th at that point. He's 14th now. That would technically give Jourdain the overhead to be able to go up and possibly get enough points to pass Carl in the standings. It would require a lot to go right for the 83, but that is, I think, the most tangible way for that to go at the moment would be for 1 caution with the 83 out front of the 71. And let's see, Carl is about 4 cars up. So that pass would have to be made. Then Jourdain would get the lap back. And then Jourdain would need it to go pretty much green to the end and finish somewhere in the top 3 or 4.
It's always a possibility. Never say never. It's not over until the checkered flag falls, and we still have 65 laps to go as the leaders have caught the Whiplash cars that are currently tandem up in front of the field, looking to see where they're going to go.
They stay
They're going to
low.
hold down on the bottom. They're going to hold pace with these leaders, which, I'm sure there are going to be a few guys who don't like this call, but they're not exactly impeding traffic in any way. We've seen lap cars toss it up with the leaders at times, and I think if it starts to become an issue, they will gladly go ahead and move out of the way and take that lap down, but they're rolling. They're doing what they have to do at the moment.
I won't lie. Of course, they need to do it for their race, but I hate when drivers do this. I hate when there's 2 lap cars mixed in with the leaders on a plate track like this. It just makes it so much more confusing for everybody. Us as the broadcasters and you guys as the viewers. But it's part of racing. It's, they need to do it for themselves. So it's just part of it. We make do and we keep on moving.
This helps too. I mean, this helps the leaders with fuel saving.
It does.
They're no longer punching the hole in the air for these guys behind them. They are able to sit behind these lap cars and save their fuel. which helps for Rafferty, who is definitely looking at scoring a win. I mean, you look at the top 10, you've got Rafferty and Dorsey, who neither of them have wins in the BRB Pro Series. You've got Hall, who's gotten a win, Buzzio, Wood, Wolsifer, Stallings, Maddox, Clark. Clark actually doesn't have a win, if I'm not mistaken. Clark and Bly also need wins. So 4 drivers out of the top 10 don't have wins in this series. And look at Jordan White. He's moving past Carl Pooler to get that lucky dog position, that free pass position. I forget it's not the lucky dog anymore. Aaron's don't sponsor it no more. But he's moved on past. He is now in that free pass position ahead of Carl Pooler.
There you go, for the free pass, lucky dog, whatever you want to call it. And now, Stallings in the wall. White checks up, contact between White and Pooler. Pooler checks up, he got in the wall nearly. Just missed it, but that was really close. And White now has a bit of a track position advantage. Literally space on the racetrack over Pooler, who is last in line here and might lose the draft even. That was a crucial moment for Carl Pooler. As here we go for the race lead. Rafferty and Dorsey went high. Maddox now up top, making it 3 wide. The highlighter yellow, number 23, trying to go forward. His brother is there behind him. That's Zach Maddox in the silver American Airlines, number 14. Oh, Rafferty got loose. Patinko into Dorsey.
Oh, that was close. Maddox does a good job to hang on to it. That was... Oh, he's in the wall, though.
Maddox got the wall there briefly. After contact with Dorsey, they are falling down out of the top 5. Now for the race lead, it's Zach Hall to the inside of Rusty Rafferty. Pass made. Hall will take over. Dorsey into Maddox. They hang on, but boy, they are checking up behind. Well, that's the wrong group. Here's the right group. They checked up big time. Coulter Clark down low. And Rafferty still trying to find a spot in line. He's going to fall back here behind the 21. Maple, by the way, is 17 laps down, but the car is finally fixed.
That is one heck of a mix-up, and I'm sure there's going to be a couple of drivers that are going to be turning heads and looking at the lap cars that are sitting out in front of the field. And now we're back to single file. It got dicey for a minute, but we're rolling again.
As we work here on lap 108 in the Performance Food Group Food Centric 250, I want to give a big thank you to our partners with the series: Sundance Pizza, Ascendance Trucks, Ideal Lease, KC Athletics, RevSimShop.com, Performance Food Group, Whiplash SimCams, CC's Business, and MXWraps.com. A big thank you as well to our partners with the channel: Whiplash SimCams, MX Wraps, ETVO, Murtis Esports, CC's Business, and the North American Racing League. Maddox on Hall. That's the battle for the race lead, this time down the backstretch. Maddox has the advantage on the outside. Hall gets trapped down low behind the lap cars of Parent and Patinko, so move Brendan Maddox to the top spot. Oh, Parent moved up in front of Maddox. Huh?
Very confused. Very, very confused. Now Parent leading the top line. Zach Maddox up top.
Parent's 12 laps down. Well, make it 11 now. Patinko is now 5 laps down. Zach Maddox in the 14 is 2 laps down. This is starting to get a little bit complicated.
Just a tad. Coulter Clark is now the race leader. Leading that top line, Dustin Stallings has moved himself back into position into that second spot. Well, into the third spot now as Brendan Maddox goes on by. I can see where this is getting confusing.
You know, a caution would really help to reset these guys and not have so many lapped cars mixed in. But we will make do. Worth noting, boy, Jordan White is climbing through this little field here. Pooler has lost the draft. He is back here. He's still nursing some damage. Pooler's now behind Moyer and Stockero and Lewis. He's back here well off of the pace. He's also still crab walking a little bit, but Jordan White is getting close to earning his lap back the hard way. And that actually...
Yeah, I think that's going to be the big help, too.
Well, that would be counterintuitive to Jourdain White. Because let's be honest, he needs a caution no matter what. It's better for him to sit here in line and potentially trap Carl Pooler a lap down by him getting the free pass than if he gets the lap back on his own and then Carl gets the free pass. So for Jourdain, selfishly, he should stay a lap down right behind the leader. Otherwise, it's a little bit counterintuitive to his mission. But if he truly is in this along with Carl, just like he was talking about in his previous interview, then yeah, he might want to get that lap back the hard way.
We're getting closer and closer to 50 laps to go. This is starting to turn into a hair-raising craziness mess. I think looking from the standpoint with it being 50 laps to go, you would need to see at least 5 more cautions for guys like Zach Maddox and Patinko to potentially even get their laps back. Potentially more if they don't get laps back the hard way. So I think from the standpoint of Evan Patinko, Carl Pooler, Sam Dyer, Zach Maddox, it's let these guys get their laps back the hard way, because that allows us to rely on less cautions to get our laps back. You've got Maddox who could go 3 laps down. Dyer could go 3 laps down if he's caught. It's turning into a situation. I mean, the only saving grace for guys like Evan Patinko or Jourdain White would be if Carl wrecked out. And I don't feel like they're going to even get the spots if they need to. Not to mention, looking at it from a point situation, Jourdain White would be the car to point himself in should Carl Pooler end up out of this race. Evan Patinko's just not going to be able to make up the spots. He would have to finish in front of Jourdain while 11 spots in front of Carl. We've been over the scenarios, and right now it's still all just playing in Carl's favor.
Yeah, Carl is somewhat safe right now, somewhat. Jourdain's in the best chance, in the best spot to change that for the 71. The situation is definitely teetering on the edge for each of those 2 drivers as Josh Parent leads this group over Zach Maddox, who is lapped. Currently scored 2 laps down since he's ahead of the race leader. Brendan Maddox is the race leader. He's all over the racetrack there on the front stretch. And Coulter Clark, who onboarded him recently, he runs in second. Buzzio and Stallings, 3rd and 4th. Down the backstretch they will go. Maddox gets away, and Clark will fall to 3rd. Johnny Wood Jr. back in this as well. And he has 2 wins this season. He's kind of been hit or miss lately. He's missed a couple of races. But I gotta feel like, Zach, if we just look at pure stats of the races that Johnny has made versus the races everybody else has made this season, he might be the championship favorite, I think, across the entirety of the season. You know, lately, Borbell's been great. Buzzio's been great. Maddox has gotten better. Fritz has been kind of on a downturn. But if you look across the entirety of these 13 races so far, I think Johnny might be one of the best. Yes, there's been some situations where he hasn't had great results. He's missed a couple of races. But I really think Johnny Wood Jr. is my favorite for the championship right now. I think my second favorite would definitely be Zach Hall. After that, it's a toss-up. As Carl Pooler going a 2nd lap down, this is very large.
This is big. This is very, very big. This puts him on the same lap as Zach Maddox, as Sam Dyer. That's 2 more spots he could potentially lose here, which definitely hurts him a lot, especially if Jourdain White ends up getting his lap back. Now with Carl 2 laps down, this is the time to go. This is the time to go and get your lap back the hard way, because now you can start passing for position should this end up turning into Jourdain's favor. I mean, the chase is now within his grasp. If a caution comes out, or should something significant happen that puts him back on the lead lap, he gets himself into position. With Carl dropping down, if he loses those 2 more spots, that puts him into 17th, meaning Jourdain White would need a 6th place finish overall to get into the chase.
And on the subject of Jourdain White, he started the season with Meatball Motorsports they have effectively exited the championship, and he was left kind of without a team. He's moved over to Spirit Racing now, and I think that was kind of the plan all along for next season, but that plan was moved up several weeks. He's now, I think, become at home over at Spirit, and is integrating well into their other endeavors, along with their endurance racing team and everything else over at Spirit. But he's always been somebody worth talking about, I feel like. From the drop of the green flag at Daytona, he has just been interesting to talk about. He's a complete rookie to not just this league, but also to iRacing still. He is getting to be more accustomed to the sim as a whole, but still, I think it'd be fair to call him a rookie. He's coming over from the Roblox scene, which is just crazy to think about, but he's really holding well for himself. You know, I don't know what baggage comes with being a Roblox racer, but he has really held well for himself, represented well, and has been one to watch for wins, I think, all season long, particularly at Daytona, for sure, but he's just been a lot of fun to watch as a rookie, and looking to make the chase in his very first BRB Sundance Pro Series season. It's a long shot right now, but I don't know. The numbers are starting to get closer to aligning for him, Zach, but they're still a little ways off.
Things could be looking in his favor as we roll in next time by. It'll be 40 laps to go. 40 laps to go in the regular season. 40 laps to figure out where you may fall when it comes down to the grand scheme of things. And, you know, thinking to the points graphic, thinking to where these guys stand right now, Brendan Maddox, your race leader, he's been very well involved in trying to keep himself up towards the front, keep his momentum moving forward. He was the points leader earlier on in the season. Adam Buzzio, I feel like, has shown a lot of great speed lately. The last few weeks, he has been consistently up in the front, especially at Kentucky, Darlington, Vegas, the last 3 races, not in that particular order. He has done really great jobs and made really great strides to keep himself up the front. I think Johnny Wood Jr., like you said, he's a good all-around championship pick. You've got Richard Wolsifer up there as well. He is, I think, safe to say, securely locked in should any sort of situations arise that could affect him. The only person that could usurp him would be Jordan White. But everything, I think, is just rolling in his favor right now. For that 56 car, Dustin Stallings is a good pick to have going into the chase, so long as he picks that pace back up. You've got Joshua Perrin up there. He's currently sitting laps down, but he has shown a lot of great speed recently. He's, in my opinion, got his head in the game. He's picked it up from those results he had earlier on. I mean, I'm going into a bit of a tangent here, Andrew, but stop me if you think I'm wrong. I mean, we're rolling into the postseason. It's time to think about these guys.
Yeah, I think the overall kind of attitude from pre-race tonight here at Echo Park to next week at Michigan is going to be very, very different. We're going to be talking to and about many different drivers compared to this evening. You know, the focus tonight is certainly on Carl, Evan, and Jourdain, because they are the most volatile positions around the chase currently. But when we get to Michigan next week, everything about that is going to change. It's going to be suddenly who's the favorite again. You know, let's think back to early in the season, kind of the mid portion of this regular season. Who has been the guys to watch? You know, I think, again, it goes back, I think, really to Johnny Wood, maybe Stephen Borbell, as there's some pit stops there from a few drivers, Stockero included. But, you know, we're going back to talking about favorites. Who do we like as far as pace, not just who do we like to try and play the stage game to get as many points as possible. So things are about to change very drastically as Rusty Rafferty will hit the pit lane here along with teammate Cody Dorsey, it looks like. Dakota Bly has continued on. Actually, no, he's pitting as well with Jason Bottoms.
They're just shaping up at this point, and, you know, kind of building on what we've been discussing when it comes to the chase, as we see Stockero and Cole Lewis, I think that was, hopping out of the pit lane as more cars coming in.
This will be fun.
This is going to be big time fun.
So it seems like no speed limit. It seems like no speed limit here until the commitment line down in turn 4. That actually is really interesting.
And it looks like they took the big pack with them because Hall stayed out. Look at that. Oh, Brendan Maddox into the back bumper of Zach Maddox. That's going to be huge. Looking at it, black flag. Oh my goodness. Zach Maddox got forced over the speed limit.
Oh my gosh. By his brother, by his twin brother. That's crazy.
I hope they don't share a room as Josh Parent gets a little sideways in his box.
No, you know, once upon a time they might have shared a bedroom. Now one lives in Texas, the other lives in Oklahoma, but yeah, that was far from ideal. As Coulter Clark will be looking to exit the pit lane here.
I'd make that drive. My brother lives over in Delaware. He is about 6 hours away from me. I'd make that drive.
And Zach Hall still in the pit lane. Richard Wolfer first off the pits, actually.
Yeah, he
this
was
is interesting.
quick out.
He's first back out there. He's out ahead of Brendan Maddox and Johnny Wood Jr. Dustin Stallings a little bit slow on the uptake to get back on the racetrack here. Boy, this green flag look could really shake things up. This has not been at all what I expected out of this race. I expected a lot more chaos and at least a couple more crashes. But I know stage 1 and even the beginning here of stage 2 were a little more chaotic, but it has gotten very, very calmed down since then.
Hall.
Yep.
He's inherited the race lead.
By quite a bit.
I think the bumper tag on pit lane really contributed to the fact that he was able to elevate himself forward. Josh Parent up there, currently sitting 1 lap down, and then that's Evan Patinko right behind Brendan Maddox, if I'm not mistaken. So that's the availability.
No, that is Wolsifer.
Oh, okay. Things are really taking shape here. Oh boy, here we go. This is where the racing starts. That was the final pit stop of the race, if we stay green flag, that is. And now things are taking shape. Wolsifer to the outside of Maddox. That's going to be for the second spot. And even though his position is relatively secure at the moment, I think Wolsifer still wants to go out there and get himself a race win. He has not had a race win in such a long time. He's been on a huge winless streak. The closest he's come was Homestead 2 seasons ago at the season finale when Stephen Borbell ended up taking the win.
No, he won Michigan back in May in season 4.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, I've been out of the loop for way too long then. Back to the high side. Wolsifer up top. Parent pushing Hall. Separated now on the bottom as the 56 car is going to look to take the lead away as we cross the start-finish line. Give it to Hall, but going down into 1, give it to Wolsifer.
Richard Wolsifer and Johnny Wood Jr. might strategically be in the best spot. They have the race lead. That is a big help to have the race lead already. But with 30 laps to go here, they have numbers. You know, they are paired together. They can tandem through the field. They have numbers without being a little bit too large and spread out. You know, Maverick, they have like 8 or 9 guys between their affiliations that they could move around on the racetrack. But that's tough behind Scott Fritz. They figure it out. But you know, for Maverick, they're all kind of working on a different plan. It's a lot easier to align 2 drivers than it is to align 9. Or whatever the number is for Maverick, Spirit, and Accelerate. And now, where this has been largely a single file for a while, Wolsifer and Wood, they can do their best here to control the race. They can log some laps here out front. They can try and save some tires, save some fuel even in case we get green-white checkers. They are in a really good spot, these 2 leading. Brendan Maddox doesn't really have help until you look back to like 8th, maybe, with Coulter Clark, probably 9th with Dustin Stallings. And, I mean, Zach Hall is back on the offensive down low, but he doesn't have any help here. At least no team-affiliated help. He's got Parent behind him, but I don't know how much Parent's going to push him.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Parent sticking down on the bottom. I think his mentality is just make it harder for these guys. Maybe see if Evan Patinko gets lucky, but I don't know at this point. But I think you're seeing a big number of these chase guys running together at the moment. So kind of take a caveat, we'll say. I hope I'm using that right because I'm I'm tired of getting clowned on behind the scenes of my grammar usage, but it's the main guys that are in the chase, maybe minus Coulter Clark, Evan Patinko, Cody Dorsey, Rusty Rafferty running up in the front at the moment, that we'll be seeing next week running around each other together. Wolsifer, Wood, Hall, Buzzio, Maddox, Parent, Stallings. They're all going to be in the chase together. They got to get used to running around each other for 5 weeks on trying to run for a championship. And we're going to a mix of tracks that are going to test a lot of their skill levels. So to end really the regular season on a super speedway where these guys are going to be as close together as humanly possible, I think it's a good starting point.
Wolfsford Hall trading the lead around at the front of the field. A mix of lap cars amongst the lead lap cars. That time by the flag stand was 25 to go. Here comes 24 to go. And Hall gets away with the race lead now. Josh Parent behind Rusty Rafferty. Boy, it would be fun to talk to him after this race here this evening. He's up into second. He brings Cody Dorsey to the top 5. Zach, we are right about at the point that we got to make our nominations for North American Racing League Driver of the Day.
I've already got my 2.
Well,
I think.
Go ahead and give them.
I think I'm going to take, a bit of a different approach. I know a lot of times we look at positions gained overall. What's the word I'm looking for here? Overall, just how much of a good race they've had, the work they've done to be able to stay in it, and I'm going to look at a different aspect. I'm going to look at the ability of not giving up, and that's why I'm going to pick Evan Patinko for Driver of the Day and Carl Pooler for Driver of the Day, because both of them have had incidents on the racetrack that have derailed their chances of making sure their spots are secured in the postseason. And I think them staying out, doing the best they can to capture every point possible is very admirable and very worth looking at in terms of nominating them for Driver of the Day.
There you go. The 81 and the 71 will be Zach's nominations. I got to go with Rusty Rafferty here in the top 5. From kind of a nothing burger in qualifying to really showing up here in the race.
Nothing burger?
Yeah, you haven't heard that before?
No.
Yeah, kind of a nothing burger in qualifying.
Just I tried Bojangles for the first time last week.
Yeah,
there are things I have not done or heard of.
We'll talk about that later. But, I like what I'm seeing out of Rusty Rafferty tonight. Richard Wolfsfer is also in a pretty good spot. Coulter Clark. My second nomination,
There's some good picks up there. Bottoms, Bly, Dorsey.
It's really challenging. I really don't know who to go with. But I'm thinking live. I was not quite ready for this. I'm going to go, I think, actually with Richard Wolsifer. I am. Richard has done a fantastic job of just putting himself in position here at the end. The race has been kind of crazy. A lot of different leaders. What the heck? I think Richard Wolsifer. Carl Pooler going, let's see, 3 laps down. He's now 1 lap behind Sam Dyer, 2 behind Jordan White, 1 lap ahead of Zach Maddox, 2 ahead of Evan Patinko. Oh boy, you're yawning. Hey,
oh, brother.
So
look, it's been a long workday for me, but I can tell you for certain the excitement's going to keep me awake. As Buzzio swaps lines down to the bottom, picks up Brendan Maddox, leaves Coulter Clark up on the top side. But I mean, a caution right now would throw everything to the wind as we see the 6-5 cars getting separated, moving around. We're starting to see some moves being made as Coulter Clark is up on the top side. He's going to have Rusty Rafferty right behind him, Cody Dorsey in the mix, and the freaking lap cars, as we like to call them, are now hand them up. I think we got a group of 5 or 6 up there that are going to start creating a headache for these guys. Zach Maddox is right there. This could potentially cause some issues.
They're mostly running high.
Everyone's single file.
They're mostly running high, but that's going to consist of guys like Cole Lewis, Dan Stoccaro, Robert Moyer, and William Maple. on the outside of the racetrack. So they are staying high right now. Here comes Coulter Clark on the inside. You know, I thought about Coulter in my Driver of the Day nomination. Boy, maybe I should have taken him.
These are cars for Jordan White to pass. Stockero, I think, is just going one lap down. I think Robert Moyer Jr. was already... Oh, contact! Oh, they're getting into each other. They're hanging on to it.
They're okay. They figured it out.
Woo.
So...
Yeah, Jordan White moving up.
Every lap that Carl Pooler loses gets Jordan a little bit closer to actually being able to move into the chase. Because that means Carl is closer to getting passed by guys like Evan Patinko, Zach Maddox, etc. And that's more spots further back for Carl to go. And then if we do have a crash, you know, we only need 6 or 7 cars to be behind Jordan now instead of 10. Because they're on top of one another. So the more laps Carl continues to lose, and obviously he has to stay on the racetrack. He has to keep going as fast as he can to minimize the laps he's losing. But the more he loses, the more we stay green, the harder it's going to be for Carl to stay above, and the easier it could be for Jordan to get enough points as they're starting to mix it up for the race lead now. Cody Dorsey putting help actually in the back end of the 34 of Rusty Rafferty. Meanwhile, Coulter Clark is up high with the race lead. Richard Wolsifer down low, and we're inside of 15 to go.
And look at this, they're racing for the free pass right now. Stockero's down to the inside of Jordan White. If White gets trapped a lap down, should a caution flag come out, that's going to negatively impact him. And at the moment, Stockero, he's right there, Andrew. I mean, this could create a huge incident for that 83 car. He's got the nose in front, but there's the 62. There he is right there, waiting in the wings, getting a push from William Maple Jr. I think the best thing for White to do right now is block whatever line that 62 is running. Get down to the bottom. The hold was there. I would have shut it because now the nose is in front for the 62 of Stockero to get that free pass position.
This is certainly an interesting spot for all of these drivers to be in this late. There's a lot riding.
Close quarters up here.
There's a lot riding on these final 12 laps of the BRB Sundance Pro Series regular season.
Now everyone's shifting to the bottom. This is not going to help Jordan.
We've got ourselves a big pack.
Well,
got ourselves a big pack again.
This could change hands. Josh Parent to the top line. We're 3 wide. Dorsey in the middle.
Dorsey's going to fall back. And he's going to be unhappy with that 22 for sticking in it. Rafferty, big checkup. He's going to get hit. They stay forward. That was close. That was really, really close.
We stay in green right now.
I don't know how Rafferty didn't wad it up. Now you've got Coulter Clark moving back. He's been put in the sucker hole. Wall gets put in the fence. Or Hall, rather. Let's think about the wall. Worn tires, Zach.
Trying to get a lap back the hard way.
Worn tires. These guys are 23 laps into a run. 23. They're halfway through their tire cycle. Caution. There it is. Carl Pooler.
Who's in it, though?
Carl Pooler and Evan Patinko.
Around.
How's the 83 look? He's ahead of Dan Stockero, but was he involved? And this is another big issue for Carl Pooler. And Patinko, we already knew he was about done. Now he's going to be done. It's over for the 81.
This is heavy stuff to watch. I hate to see it for these guys. Evan Patinko with the meatball flag. The only one of the bunch with the meatball flag. Now, let's shift the focus here for a moment because Jordan White is going to get the free pass, if I'm not mistaken, to get himself back on the lead lap.
Let's see by replay if he was involved. Let's see what happened here because they were right behind Jordan. So if he got an incident point in all of this, it could go to Dan. I mean, Patinko is right behind Jordan. Jordan goes outside of Cody Dorsey. Let's watch this. Jordan checks up. This is gonna. I think this might be what causes it. Jordan and Dorsey both checking up a little bit. Patinko off the racetrack. Oh, there it is. Jordan's. Oh, 2 incidents.
That's a totally separate incident because Pooler went around off the nose of Bly. Stockero's heading to the pit lane. Dorsey's heading in as well. The 9 of Dorsey's been black flagged for the incident as cause.
Watch 71 here. He's going to get a tap in the right rear from his teammate,
a
Zach
teammate.
Maddox. And that actually might have given Dan Stockero an incident point. I think Jourdain got away fine, but it's going to be close for him.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see this for Jourdain White, the 83, the gold and white 83 up top. See, Dorsey's going to come down, and he's going to get William Maple right there. That wipes out Patinko. Wow, you know what, Zach? We got to break out the graphic.
Well, you know what?
Because of what was riding on this, if Jourdain had just been a little bit lower on the racetrack, that could have been his season. Instead, he has an opportunity. Because of the mega circumstance, to me, this is a Murtis mega miss.
Well, you did say the top side was the place to be. I guess maybe I should be agreeing with you now, as Jourdain White has taken the wave around the pace car, and he is heading to the pit lane to put tires on his race car, put fuel in it, make sure he is ready and raring to go for the end, because ladies and gentlemen, with Carl Pooler going around and having to take some damage repair, a 6th place finish, relatively speaking, let's just call it a top 5. A top 5 will secure position for Jourdain White into the chase. And I know that there are those out there who want to see it. Jourdain White is in the mix. He has the ability to go out there and put himself into the chase. Carl Pooler is still stuck on the pit lane. Zach Maddox is still out on the racetrack. So that's negatively impacting Carl's chances, because the point position going down for Pooler would mean that it's easier for Jourdain White to punch himself into the chase. Jack is down, 83 is out and away and still on the lead lap.
And Jourdain's going to have tires. That's an important distinction to make. He is going to have tires. It looks like Dorsey, Bottoms, Stallings, and Bly will as well. But the top 8, Wolsifer, Wood, Buzzio, Hall, Maddox, Rafferty, Clark, and Henderson are on old tires. And I know that the age-old saying is that you don't need tires on a super speedway. I'm going to tell you that is not true here at Atlanta. At Echo Park, you need tires. You don't necessarily need to take tires every time you pit if it's green flag. I think still you should. But, you know, if it's a short run, maybe you're going to be okay. But in this case, only a few laps to go, old tires versus new. I do think these new tires will make a difference. Jourdain White is crashed! He's crashed, Zach!
What is happening?
He's crashed under caution.
A tap of the wall? Oh no!
Here's Jourdain White catching the field. He just checked up and ran straight in the fence.
Oh no!
He just tossed his season out the window. Here's the
and
onboard.
it's a meatball flag for the 83. It is a...
He's done.
Oh my goodness.
Carl's safe. He's done. He just straight up made a mistake. I mean, wow, I have never.
I don't even know what to say.
6 laps to go. Let's try and wrap our minds around this. Wow.
I'm in shock.
I am a little bit as well. He had the tire advantage. Yes, he needed to do some work to get through the field. Wow.
Keeping the focus forward, Richard Wolsifer leading the charge. Johnny Wood Jr. right behind him, Adam Buzzio, Zach Hall. Oh, they're wrecking again! Big hit! Tim Henderson is in the wall!
They're still green.
That is a heavy impact. We are still green.
Bly, Henderson smoking.
He's crab walking.
We're going to stick with us at the front until we get a caution. Brendan Maddox, Richard Wolsifer for the race win here maybe at Atlanta. 4 to go right here.
I don't even know what's happening anymore. I truly do not. Adam Buzzio looking to the top side. Can't quite get there. Wolsifer still leading the charge on that top line. Where did Johnny Wood Jr. go? He fell down to the 8th spot right outside that top line.
There's smoke ahead of these guys. I think they're getting down off the racetrack. Wolcifer has the lead. Maddox falling back. Buzzio now second. Here comes Hall. Slow car low. That is Dorsey. I still can't believe we didn't have a caution for all of that.
I don't even know what to say. Dorsey still on the racetrack. Wolcifer still leading the charge. 3 laps to go as Coulter Clark takes a look down to the bottom. He's one driver that could potentially have a shot in, but he's definitely a little bit far outside the cut line. I don't think it's going to make any difference. Johnny Wood Jr. down to the bottom. He takes a big look. Adam Buzzio thinks he's hesitating. He's going down to the bottom line. Still staying in the coattails.
Whoa, Johnny Wood!
He's going around.
Is this going to be a yellow? No, we're staying green.
We're still green. These guys want a caution, but they just can't get it.
They are trying every way they can to get a caution. Richard Wolcifer now mano-a-mano with Adam Buzzio. He's going to go high, though. Hall looks low. He's going to pick up the 32. Wolcifer no longer has his teammate, and Zach, here we go. The white flag is out, this time by, brought to you by Whiplash SimCams. One more time around, let's see what's going to happen in this fantastic Atlanta finish.
Buzzio losing ground, so much ground. Look at Jason Bottoms in the 17th.
Look at Maddox.
He's up here. Brendan Maddox to the race lead, out in front.
Jason Bottoms
to the bottom. Is he going to get his first win? He's way down to the inside. He moves past Brendan Maddox. Coulter Clark now up into the 3rd spot. Hall to the bottom. Wolcifer pinching low. Where's we going to go? Hall gets by.
They're going to crash for second and to the line. It is Zach Hall with a 3rd win this season to lead the series in the regular season. And boy, we know he's in the chase. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. All of this, and Carl Pooler will go 13th. Carl Pooler will go 13th. He will make the chase unofficially.
How about this? Bottoms ends up 4th. That's his first top 5 of the season. I want to say it's his first
possibly
top 5 ever,
yeah.
I don't want to speak on that. Cody Dorsey ends up getting a top 10. Dan Stocktero gets his first top 10. There's some storylines through here as Hall is going to burn it down on the straightaway. Jason Bottoms fan club rejoice. What a way to end this race. That was spectacular. You've got to feel for everyone involved in this, though. Jordan White had the ability to put himself in, just misses out from a late error coming up to catch the field. Evan Patinko doesn't transfer in after trying his hardest to capitalize on points. Carl Pooler makes it in. He hangs on to it. Wow.
And we will get a look back at what just happened those final 5 laps or so. Bear with me, though. It's going to take a moment to queue up the right moment in the replay. This, I think, it's already happened here, right? Yeah, 88's in the pits. Let's go back further. Okay, here it's just happened. Let's go back further. Here we go. Well, there it's happening. So, bear with me. Let's find the right spot here. And now we've got it. So the 88, Tim Henderson, racing with Rusty Rafferty. Check this into turn number 1. There they go under the flag stand. Henderson just went 3 and just ran up into Rafferty. That's just a mistake on Henderson's part. Slams the wall. I mean, that is
Jason Bottoms.
A hellacious impact for the 88.
What a miss right there for the 17 car. How about a Murtis Esports Murtis Mega Miss nomination for the 17? I feel like it's worth it. I know you nominated Jordan White, but I feel like him kind of checking out early negates that nomination a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big miss for Jason Bottoms here right at the end of this race. So here's the onboard. He already had a mega miss earlier. Remember in that front stretch crash earlier on. Another one here for Jason. Wow. And he goes on to finish 4th.
I mean, what are the odds?
And let's go up a little bit. Try to advance this. Save some time here to watch this back. because there's more crashing here very, very soon. Honestly, so much happened, I don't even recall who crashed next. I think it was Johnny Wood, wasn't it? It was. It was Johnny Wood Jr., because then Richard had no teammates. So, let's see. The 75 of Johnny Wood Jr., I think it's the next time around. So it was coming two to go. I think that was 3 right there. Maddox got up into Johnny there out of turn 2. Johnny goes low. This was a really good move, actually, to get closer to his teammate Richard. And then off of turn 4, something goes wrong. Maddox just right hooks the 75, just barely got his right rear, sent him sliding through the grass and whatnot. Rather cinematically. And then the leaders kept going. And this is now 2 to go, Zach, so we can just watch these final 2 laps. Adam Buzzio to the inside. So many times it looked like he had a shot. And he just ends up coming up short.
I thought he was going to go Super Saiyan there at the end and charge to the front. See, that is using it in good context.
Well, but Dan, look at this run that Maddox gets. Maybe he was going Super Saiyan. Bottoms went with him.
What a shot right there.
I thought they had it, and then Maddox comes up off the corner. Maddox comes off a 2 and gets up into Richard, and that slows them both down. And that opens the door for Bottoms low, but that slows them both down. So now it's Wolsifer versus Hall, and I mean, Hall just turns left. I mean, textbook move. He just turned left and got down there. And then that happens off of 4. Coulter Clark absolutely demolished.
Big impact. Big impact for Coulter Clark. And if this was not the iRacing.com sim, that would be a mega impact.
A scary one.
For any driver.
You know, Super and I were talking about it earlier in the day, about how glad we are this is not real. That would be a scary, scary impact.
And I know a thing or two about scary impacts.
right hooks are not ideal to have. I mean, this isn't your classic intentional right hook. I think this is just Richard trying to get back underneath him, but yeah, it doesn't look good.
It's definitely a big impact, but we'll get the chance to talk to Richard and many more as the race ends and we find ourselves involved in the post-race show.
That was a bit of a recap, at least, of the final couple of laps. There was a lot to go over. Let's take a look at the unofficial race results. Boy, Zach Hall, I never, ever would have imagined that he would have 3 wins when he joined the league back in week 5. But here we are. 3 wins later. He's maybe the favorite for the chase. I don't know. 13 laps led tonight, started 20th. Just kind of was there when he needed to be and walks away with this one. Richard Wolsifer, he didn't quite make it down to the bottom to block Hall into turn 3, and Hall drove underneath him. Brendan Maddox had a great shot there at the end. Jason Bottoms, boy, that would have been a hell of an underdog story. He's 4th. Adam Buzzio at top 5. Dustin Stallings, good to see him back in the top 10 at least. Have a decent result here to close out the regular season. Coulter Clark, a nice result as well to make sure he stays in the chase. Johnny Wood Jr. With a good result here this evening despite being spun down through the grass. And then Cody Dorsey, Dan Stockaro. Good to see them get top 10s just in some of the craziest of ways.
I can agree to that as Sam Dyer rolls out of here 11th, Rusty Rafferty into 12th spot. Carl Puller right behind him, 13th, ends up securing himself into the postseason chase. Tim Henderson ends up 14th with Jordan White, 15th, 6 laps down. Dakota Bly ends up 16th on the grid with Zach Maddox, Cole Lewis, Josh Parent, and Robert Moyer Jr. rounding out your top 20. Not too many cars left behind them to follow, though.
Yeah, about 6 more here on the next page, and that'll consist of Scott Fritz in 21st, Evan Patinko in 22nd, William Maple in 23rd, then Gray Walker, Stephen Borbell, and Anthony DeSeo all out very early here this evening at Echo Park Speedway. Well, I do want to... We owe an interview to Johnny Wood Jr. from the stage. Is he still in Discord?
I don't believe so.
Hey, he is. Let's grab him. We owe him a stage interview. We're doing this at the end of the race. We're going to have 4 interviews. We'll just keep them a little bit quicker. But we owe this man... We owe you a stage interview here, Johnny. I'll keep it quick. There was so much happening there at the stage caution with points and whatnot. We didn't get a chance to talk to you, and now we have some extra context as to how the rest of your race ended up going. But let's flash back to stage 1 really quickly. What was going through your mind at that point in time?
Just the pit strategy. I took 2 before that stage caution on the lefts, and it helped with getting out on pit road good, and then I took 2 after the stage. But yeah, winning the stage was pretty good. I would say about 2 to 1 lap to go to the stage, I was about 5th, I think, and it just, miracles happen, and just drafted my way to the front and blocked the inside and got the stage win, which worked out. I think a few people wrecked, and then we just had a few of us together, me, Richard, and Adam, just had to lock in and keep the same strategy going, block lines, and do what we had to do to try to get a good finish, which, we got all top 10, so it wasn't too bad. I know at the end of the race there, I think I was in third, and then me and Maddox kind of got together. He was probably trying to go to the middle lane that I left open just a little, and then I was probably assuming he was going to stick with me to push, but we kind of came together, and I got hooked down the straightaway. Well, I'm not going to call it a hook, just kind of spun down the straightaway and finished with the 8th, so it's not bad. At least we didn't get a wreck out and lap down and all that. So
definitely a tumultuous night here at Echo Park. But next up, we head to Michigan, and I feel like when we open the chase up next week, you are a championship favorite. What's the game plan?
Win stages and win races. I mean, it's stage points make a lot of, makes it a big deal. I missed 2 races this season, and I'll just be happy to probably with a top 5 on the championship. But if we can win it, we'll win it. But win stages.
There you have it, Johnny Wood Jr. Just trying to get back in the saddle and get back to winning some races here before the end of the season as the chase begins next week at Michigan. Johnny, good to talk to you. I know we wanted to talk to you there after stage 1, and then we went green all of stage 2. Except for that one late caution. It is what it is. But good to talk to you at least. We owe you the interview. Best of luck as we enter the chase.
Yep, appreciate it.
I moved him slightly prematurely, Johnny. When you go back and listen, I'm sorry, but we're trying to race through post-race here. And next up, we got to get to our winner, Zach Hall. We owed the stage winner an interview, Zach, so we kind of delayed you here, but emotion has got to still be flowing after that crazy finish.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better way to play out. It was one of those situations where I knew if I could kind of get to the outside, you kind of control your destiny up there. And luckily, I kind of, when Richard saw me jump out to Adam, he didn't have to move, but I seen him make the move, and I was like, that puts me in such a good spot here. And I really kind of was in my head there on the last lap coming to the white flag. I was like, I'm just going to push Richard as best I can, and if he makes the right moves, I'll go with him. And I felt like leaving the bottom open there like he did. It was going to be vulnerable for just not only for me, but also for him, just kind of like separating us off of him. So I felt like I had to take that hard left there and go right to the quarter panel. If not, it was going to be maybe someone else winning. So I was like, I gotta make the move if he's not going to cover it off. So I went for it, and it worked out. I've actually done that move about 2 or 3 times here now at this track, so I know it works really well. A lot of people don't think to cover that bottom off, but just if you can get to the quarter panel, the side draft on the entry through the center, usually you can get clear of them. And if you can get clear and not get them on that quarter panel, you're usually pretty set selling from there, as we see it all transpire behind us as it came off of 4. But man, that was as best the night I could ask for. I was just coming in here just trying to survive everything. I was trying to play as much racecraft as possible in my race tonight and not put myself in bad situations.
And when we open the chase up next week at Michigan, I think immediately you become one of, if not the favorite for this championship. What does that mean to you specifically after starting this season 4 races behind everybody else?
That's definitely a big statement. I definitely have had a pretty epic run here the last few weeks. I think other than Chicagoland, I mean, it's pretty much been top 10s every week. So, and I felt like a few of them, maybe I could have had a few more wins in there. Maybe I just, played strategy wrong here a few ways, but definitely have kind of gotten used to the car. I think it took me like two races, really, 2 or 3 mile and a halves to really figure out everything. And everything kind of clicked, because it just kind of reminds me of that 550 package back in the day. So I think that really clicked well for me, and hopefully heading into Michigan here, it's going to be a wild one there for sure with the draft. I think that's a pretty good track for me. I mean, anything can happen, though, with how the draft package is going to be there. And then Walken's definitely got that one circled. Talladega's going to be any man's game. And then the final 2, I think that'll be like another one where you got to just be consistent. And if I can continue, I think the consistency I've been on this season so far, I should be right in the realm of fighting for it. I don't know how the bonus points and stuff work, but we'll see how far or how close I am to the lead, and we'll go from there. I think consistency will win these titles, though, in chases.
A long ways to go still to win this championship, but you definitely have a good start here with all these wins this season. Congratulations on the 3rd year. You're now leading the series in that win column.
Thank you very much, guys.
Zach Hall with a big one here this evening at Echo Park Speedway. On down to 2nd place. This will be a good driver to talk to, not just because of what happened there coming to the checkers, but boy, Richard, I feel like, was in the mix the whole 2nd stage. And Richard, at one point, I really thought you and Johnny had this race under control after those pit stops. A few things went a little bit differently, but man, those last few laps, if you could change anything, would you?
Wouldn't have right hooked Coulter Clark. I do feel bad about that one. In my view, it looked like we were both turning left, and then all of a sudden his car straightened out, and I was kept going left to the apron. So that was just bad move, bad decision by my part. I mean, overall, I could have made the move to the inside also to block Zach Hall, but I'd been making that the middle lane work so well all night with Johnny and Adam that I thought maybe if anybody got to the inside, I'd be able to side draft and be able to stop them. But Coulter was able to follow him, and that's what pushed him. I really think if someone would have followed me, he wouldn't have had the run. But overall, I mean, I think Johnny and I did really good tonight. We had a great help from Adam as well. Adam lost his 2 teammates early in the race, and then Jamie didn't show up tonight. So us 3 working together tonight really, really helped out.
And of course, this sets you up nicely with some momentum. There we go, getting the words out. Heading to the racetrack where you most recently won. That was Michigan, of course, back in season 4. Can you get back to your winning ways?
Let's qualify at the end, and we'll see. We'll try that strategy again because it worked last time. So, I mean, I like Michigan. I haven't really done much in the ARCA car, so I don't know how the car will handle. I mean, a lot of things kind of fell into like perfect slot back on that last win at Michigan that really helped me out. So, I mean, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna give it our best, and try to pull off a win at Michigan again, because that'd be really cool to go back-to-back Michigan wins.
Richard Wolsifer looking for a victory lane once again here in the BRB Sundance Pro Series. Congratulations, 25 laps led. You're up front quite a lot. Hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Richard Wolsifer recently celebrating that birthday. Might have been 1 week delayed, but some birthday luck put him back up front here this evening. And we can go on down to not only the 3rd place finisher here this evening at Echo Park Speedway, but reportedly our regular season champion in the BRB Sundance Pro Series. For all the trials and tribulations, all the times that you threw your headset down and slammed your sim racing wheel and said, I want to quit. Is it finally worth it?
It's about half worth it. I mean, we got to come away with the championship to actually make it worth it. You know what I mean? How about this? It's 71% worth it, because this whole race, I really wasn't focused on that. I got to the line and I didn't even, I think I said like, I'm regular season champ because I beat Adam, but I found out I was thinking of the wrong person. So I don't know, but it's 71% worth it because Carl got in the chase. He was our guy for the whole race. He got caught up early. He had like 6 or 7 minutes of damage, and we just told him, stick with it, do the best you can. And, you know, like Carl does, he just perseveres through it, and he gets into the chase. I'm super happy for him. I mean, that was our whole focus as a team tonight was, do what we can to get him in the chase. And once it came down to the end and he was 3 laps down, and I had to start racing for a win there at the end. It was secondary, but only because he's not up there. I'd rather have been pushing the 71 to a win tonight. But I mean, yeah, for all the trials and tribulations of the season, I mean, I started off really, really hot, and then I had a few weeks of just wrecking and, a few bad weeks, and I didn't think I was going to get any chance to get regular season championship. So I'm shocked more than anything, to be honest with you. It's kind of cool.
And it came together nicely with a 3rd place finish tonight. That's definitely a good way to cap off the regular season. But it's back to one of those big speedways, Michigan next week. It's larger than this racetrack, but a very different style of racing. Still be some big runs. What are you expecting from behind the wheel?
Big runs into turn 1, people lifting, having to not lift. I'm sure there's going to be a few slide jobs, dive bomb type stuff, and hopefully the tire wear comes into it. To be honest, I think Michigan's a fast track. It works like a super speed. It's 2 miles, right? So it's basically a super speedway without being called a super speedway in the way that you have to race it. I don't know. It feels like a mix now that I'm thinking about it. It's like super speedway speeds, but anyways, I think it'll be a lot of good runs. You'll have to manage the run. You probably have to manage the tires, I hope, and hopefully a good race. We've picked up things as a league in the last few weeks. It's coming into 2026. We've had less wrecks. I had a lot of better moves being made, I think, and I'm just happy with. Shout out to the league for that, because that's freaking awesome for us to do that. And that's the kind of stuff you need going into the chase to get you a good run.
There you go, Brennan Maddox, regular season champion. Let's see if we can make that full season champion here in a few more weeks. Congratulations, Brennan. Good to talk to you.
Thank you, buddy.
Brennan Maddox, of course, from MX Raps. Definitely a good driver to be talking to at the end of these races, and glad that it aligned at least for this regular season championship. But you look forward to the rest of these races, and it's so hard to get an idea of who's going to be good when and who's going to be the best over these next 5. If we take a look at the schedule remaining, Michigan, Watkins Glen, Talladega, Phoenix, Miami, I mean, it is... There's no hiding in this chase. There's no flow, I feel like. It's definitely a little bit all over the place. Big speedway, but not super speedway, into a road course, into a super speedway, into kind of a quasi short track, almost intermediate, into an intermediate where you can race in every lane. So it's going to be hard for these guys to ever settle in during these 5 races for this season's chase. But now is the time to figure out how to do so. 5 races to go. They all reset. And we've got our 12 drivers. Those 12 drivers, by the way, will be Brendan Maddox, Scott Fritz, Adam Buzzio, Stephen Borbell, Dustin Stallings, Johnny Wood Jr., Josh Parent, Zach Hall, Richard Wolsifer, Kyle Klenk, Coulter Clark, and Carl Pooler, fighting for a championship here in Season 5. That does cut Jordan White in his rookie season. It does prevent Evan Patinko from making it. Tim Henderson, Dakota Bly, Gray Walker, they all miss, along with Robert Moyer Jr., Cole Lewis, Jason Bottoms, and everybody else in the standings. So, those are your 12. Maddox, Fritz, Buzzio, Borbell, Stallings, Wood, Parent, Hall, Wolsifer, Klenk, Clark, and Pooler. It'll be a lot of fun to see who can do what in the 5 races upcoming for the chase, but for tonight, we need to award today's North American Racing League Driver of the Day, and I'll tell you what, while I do a little more outro rather, I'll give you guys a chance to settle this. It'll be a runoff vote. Stand by. I gotta type this all in between Evan Patinko and Richard Wolsifer. So while I talk for another minute or two, we'll give you guys a chance to re-vote here. And I'll drop the link again in the BRB Discord. You grab that, panicked myself, thought I ended the stream. But we can take a look at what's upcoming for us here at Pitstop TV. Here's a look at things. Next up, we do have the North American Racing League at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in the GT3 cars. Those will be the pro drivers this Thursday, and I'm excited to see how things go. I'm still working on punching this into the Discord. There we go. Runoff vote for driver of the day. There we go. Okay. My brain has come back to me. So we have pro drivers in GT3 on Thursday ahead of the Super Series, Sarah Super Series drivers at an unnamed mystery short track on Thursday evening later in that night. So a doubleheader this coming Thursday should be a lot of fun. And then we, like I said, keep an eye out for a broadcast to pop up February the 1st on Sunday. Keep an eye out for that. But for right now, the next broadcast after the doubleheader this Thursday does end up being the BRB Sundance Pro Series, heading out to Michigan to begin the chase on February the 3rd. A lot of great racing coming up, a lot of great places to keep in touch with Pitstop TV and watch all these broadcasts all across the platforms down below. We invite you to take a look at those, give us a like, a follow, whatever it may be, and support your series broadcaster. It has been a lot of fun here tonight at Echo Park Speedway. We do have to wrap things up. We're still waiting on that vote to finalize. We'll give you a little bit longer to vote for either Evan Batinko or Richard Wolsifer, and we will give a big thank you as well to our partners with the channel. Of course, Sundance Pizza, Sundance Trucks, Ideal Lease, KC Athletics, RevSimShop.com. Tonight's presenting partner, Performance Food Group, with their food-centric event coming up very soon. Whiplash Simcams, CC's Business, and MXWraps.com. A big thank you as well to our partners here at the channel, Whiplash Simcams, MX Wraps, ATVO, Murtis Esports, CC's Business, and the North American Racing League. And let's see. The vote, there's 5 so far. We'll give you just a couple of moments more. But it is looking like it just might be decided. We need a little bit longer. Let's see. I think the vote is going to stay the same. It's going to be Richard Wolsifer then for driver of the day this evening. It was a tiebreaker vote between Richard and Patinko, and Richard Wolsifer will get the nod. Let's at least show off the 56 here this evening. Congratulations, of course, to Richard Wolsifer here tonight. Not the ending he wanted. Of course, wanted to end it in victory lane, but still a good night for Car 56 as a whole. For everybody here at Pitstop TV, thanks so much for joining us. We had a new broadcast member in Super, otherwise known as Arthur Matson, or Matston, I think, in the broadcast booth tonight. We hope to talk with him a little more, use him a little more the rest of the series here in 2026. Until next time, thanks for joining us here at Pitstop TV. We will see you all next time, hopefully, for the North American Racing League heading out to Spa this Thursday, followed up by the Sarah Super Series at a mystery track, and then we do it all over again for a new week of racing with BRB at Michigan. Until then, we'll see you next time. Have a great night.